Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Pop Talk. How's everybody doing today? I'm your host today, Sean. Let's go around the horn. Bogz, how are you doing today?
I'm very good, man. Pleasure to be back. What's up, YouTube? Yeah, can't wait to get into today's stories about everything that's going on. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into our other shows, for liking, comment, subscribing, all that good stuff. So let's get into it, and can't wait to discuss everything with you guys.
All right. Did you have your tea ready this morning?
Yes, I've already had it. My London, if you see the London mug. Yes, very stereotypical. But
I was about to say that looks like a tourist mug.
It is definitely.
Okay,
But yeah,
enough.
everything's all good. And let's get into it.
All right. My fellow American Soul, how you doing, Soul?
Doing good. I'm ready to talk these topics with you guys. Excited to see you guys and having Bogz and Colin join us this week because we were a little lonely, just Sean and I last week, but we had a good show.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you.
We made it work. I think we made it work.
Ready to talk these topics and glad to be here.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Colin, how you doing, Colin?
Exhausted from a fantastic 3-hour stream with the great John Kaiser on the Ultimate Schmodown show last night. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. My South Carolina Gamecocks hired a new football coach, so I'm all Gamecocked out today. It's a big day here in the Palmetto State. We've waited a long time. I got the cup. We're ready to go.
All right, cool. So we're
Welcome,
just gonna,
Shane Beamer.
Cup, hat, and jacket.
I have no idea what that is. But that's totally fine. All right, so
He's the legendary son of Frank Beamer, who coached Virginia Tech for about 30 years. And he's the first kid from South Carolina that's ever going to coach the team. So it's nice.
Welcome to Sports Talk.
Go college sports. I don't know, from New York, we don't follow college sports as much. But more,
you turn into a real Josh McCouga when I talk about college sports, right? You turn into a real Josh McCouga on Collider Live.
Okay.
People know what I'm talking about. People know exactly what I'm talking about.
Unfortunately, I don't, but I'm glad that other people do.
Whenever somebody brings up animated things or things that he doesn't like, he just tends to turn on them completely and make them.
Oh, I'm not turning on you. I respect it.
Okay.
I'm just like,
okay.
I'm not gonna watch it. I'll watch highlights because then I want to know who's gonna eventually be in the NFL. But otherwise,
who will join your Giants?
Exactly. Or whom am my Giants gonna go up against? But that's another story for another thing. Okay. So first topic today is Warner Brothers coming up to the decision that all of their 2021 films are going to be released on HBO Max. So it's going to be day and date. So if a movie comes out, just like how Warner Brothers is going to release Wonder Woman later this month, which we'll be reviewing at some point, it will come out on HBO Max, and it will come out in the theaters, and it will stay on HBO Max for 30 days, and then leave, and then it will stay in the theater, and then eventually it'll go back to HBO Max or probably another streaming service because a lot of those deals are already put in place ahead of time. So that's why it can only stay on HBO Max for 30 days. And considering how, a lot of the theaters in the country are closed, I'm not sure exactly how many theaters a lot of these films are actually going to be on. So when Wonder Woman is going to be the first case, I'm really, really curious. If you wanted to see it in the theater, especially in the United States, would you even be able to? Like here in Los Angeles, I don't think, even if I wanted to, I could see it in the theater. So,
come to Florida.
Bring it on. No, I'm not getting on a plane to see Wonder Woman. Like if I could drive, maybe, but flying, no. So I'm really, really curious of what you guys think about this decision by Warner Brothers, because this is a huge deal. Huge deal. The fact that they're kind of putting a big wrinkle in the way movies are shown in this, not only in this country, just in general. The fact that you can, instead of watching it in the theater when it first comes out, you could just sit at home and watch it for the same price. So it's not like going to be how Disney did with Mulan. You have to pay an extra fee to get it. It's if you're subscribed to HBO Max, which in the United States is $15, you're going to get all of these movies. So I'm going to start with Soul. What do you think about this decision by Warner Brothers?
Well, I see that this was a decision that came through. I know we talked about last week that there's going to be a lot of movies coming out in 2021. And WB with this, it's 17 movies that is coming out in 2021. I don't know when the last time they had that many movies coming out in a year. So I can see that they are trying to rack with competition. And this is one way they can do it. I'm also glad that at least with Wonder Woman, I hoped it was with all of the slate, but at least with Wonder Woman, they're giving 60% of the profits to the theaters. And I'm hoping that that could, at least with Wonder Woman, possibly, if it is open in whatever areas that it is open, that can revive some parts of it. But we also hoped that with Tenet, and that didn't happen with Tenet. So my main worry is that I want movie theaters to stay alive, to be able to stay open, whether it is we're being safe or not, or going to the theaters right now if they have to be closed during these times. But yeah, I just want the theaters to be good so that way when everything is over and we have a vaccine and we can actually go to the movie theater and enjoy some of these movies, that we can have a theater that is open in our city and not have to drive an hour or two away because the theaters were closing because of this time.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I was talking with a friend of mine, and like this decision, who's in the industry, this decision is groundbreaking, and it's really interesting to see what the other studios do, because we don't know when the vaccine is coming. We do know it will get here at some point, but what is the mouse gonna do? Because Black Widow is supposed to come out in May. Will that happen? Will it be on Disney Plus? We still don't know. There's a lot of rumors that they might announce that it's going to Disney Plus. As of right now, I don't think they need to make that decision. But like, I know I want to see that movie in the studio. I mean, in the theaters. I know I do. But Bogz, you're across the pond. How do you feel about this decision by Warner Brothers?
Yeah, really lots to consider and think about. So from a UK selfish perspective, like obviously going on HBO Max. First, we don't have HBO Max here, so obviously we wouldn't get that. But after the 31 days, it will be released in the cinemas. Currently, the cinemas are closed, so again, we want to get that. But after that, there is news that it will drop on other streaming services such as Amazon, things like that. So I'm thinking then we would, unless the cinemas reopen before that. So that is the kind of end goal, but that's a long time to wait. And I just think it's all a numbers game. So this is all kind of derived from Disney Plus and how successful they have been. So I checked some of the numbers and kind of the profit margins that Disney Plus are getting. So Disney last year, so from 2019, the total revenue for movies, theme parks, toys was 11 billion. Okay, Disney Plus alone this year in the last 12 months, just Disney Plus alone is 7 billion. Okay, 7 billion. So they've seen obviously the growth of Disney Plus, and they've decided to put the whole slate over there to try and get more subscribers, to try and hit some of those streaming numbers, because like obviously Sol is saying, you don't want cinemas to die and things like that, because we're all hardcore movie fans and stuff. So but it is going that way. I thought this kind of thing would happen over the next maybe 5 or 10 years, but due to the pandemic, the current climate, they've been forced to do it immediately. So overall I think it's quite a good decision to do. It's brave thing to do, but because you are taking the finance out of the cinemas, the theaters, and putting it into people's homes. But it gives people, it gives them an urgency to keep HBO Max as well. If I think that the list is like 11 movies. Let's say you do one a month throughout the year, you're not going to cancel HBO Max. You're going to keep it. You're getting an immediate premiere every month of a brand new movie. So yeah, it's just a good way of keeping it and to catch up with HBO Disney Plus. So I see lots of reasons why they did do it. Overall, it was obviously they ran the data, the numbers, they've seen that it's worth the risk, and they've made it. They own a lot of their properties, so they've just made it so you can't unsubscribe. So they've made it. I like the tactical way they've done that. And although someone like me, I might be a victim of it, but I'm hoping they do something a bit more urgent for the international market, because they still need that income. So yeah, I'm overall quite impressed with the financial decisions that they made, and I like it. I like it. It's good. It's been brave. They're the first studio to do something like this to move forward. So, yeah, good decision.
Yeah, I think Bogz, I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think they're just still renegotiating with a lot of these different countries and streaming services. So I think you will be able to have access to it. It'll be stupid not to. But you bring up a good point about Disney Plus is because they have 76 million subscribers already. And Warner Brothers is like, we want some of that. We want some of that. So this is a way to kind of...
Sorry to interrupt. That's in 1 year from one show, basically.
Basically one show. You're right.
Yeah.
Hamilton as well. I would
Hamilton
give
as
it
well.
to
Yeah.
Mandalorian, and Hamilton gave it a big second win.
Sure. I'm talking
original content.
Yeah,
No, I
know.
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
one show.
Disney Plus would have been different if it wasn't for COVID, because we would have got more original content by now. But
Two shows.
One of the sorry,
2 Marvel shows by now. We'd be
we
would
would've got 2
already
Marvel
have
shows by
seen Vision and WandaVision.
And we would've saw,
we'd been right in the middle of
Falcon
and Winter Soldier.
no, that would have been
subscribers just going to go up.
That would've been done
Winter
already, too,
Soldier
by
was
then.
August, and
Yeah.
it would have
Even-
been.
Even next month, right, January, how much stuff is going to come out in January that we are going to be reviewing, talking about? Obviously, Wonder Woman, these WandaVision, just stuff that's going to come out every week. Look at the slate of 2021. Like, there's going to be like a little war of what dates are going to move. In terms of
the streaming wars have begun.
It's going to be exciting for us. Yeah,
but and I think but I don't think the theaters are going to die. I think there's too much money to be made in the theaters. Like a movie like Wonder Woman potentially could make $1 billion on its own. Obviously, all that is not profit because the theater's got to get a third of that too. But you can't make that kind of money on one individual property streaming it. You just can't. So in my mind, I think this is just a way for them to do a couple of things. Like, obviously, 2021 is still a big question mark because nobody knows what that is going to look like in terms of the theaters. But considering HBO's like looking at Disney and like, I want some of that money, because just like Disney, all this money that they're making is pure profit because they own the majority of the stuff that's on HBO Max, just like Disney owns everything on Disney Plus. So they don't have to pay any licensing fees. We're looking at you, Netflix. You have to pay a lot of licensing fees. They don't. So yeah, so Netflix is trying to we got to start making more of our own stuff.
We pay for our fees with DVD.com.
Yeah, which people are still getting DVDs. So, Colin, what's your thought about this?
Well, my mind goes in a bunch of different ways. It's the person who loves going to the theaters, to be completely honest, has not had an enjoyable experience in the theater since Endgame. For me, and that's just my personal experience going to the theaters. People are becoming more inconsiderate when you go to see a movie. They're whipping their phones out all the time during a film. And there's just things that I don't want to say like OCD, but I'm a bit control freak about my situation. Like if I'm going in and paying X amount of dollars for a theater experience that I don't get because of somebody else who also paid and don't care, like I like to sit in the back. I like to sit in the back just because I like to see the whole thing, or got my little spot I like to sit. You can see everything. Everyone's whipping their phones out. Everyone's Apple Watches. They're checking their watches or whatever, and it glows. And that part of me is like, yes, thank you. Let me watch Wonder Woman in 4K on my TV with my soundbar at home at peace with myself, and I don't have to overpay for food that's not that good. So what am I getting at? The theaters have to change. It is time for the theaters to evolve. The movie theater experience has been the same experience unless you live in a major market, unless you have an Alamo Draft House near you. The movie theater experience is absolute shit. It is terrible. On the East Coast, it is terrible. Even when you go to big cities like Atlanta or like Charlotte or going down to Orlando. Orlando is probably one of the better. Yeah, Miami. I know. I like the theater in Orlando at Disney Springs, but it's not the best. Like it's okay. There's no experience that I've been able to have because of the theater. It's the screen.
What kind of experience would you like? What would you like if you could choose?
I mean, it's hard because most of the time we just haven't had an experience lately where you want to show up at midnight for a movie. Though that's my experience. I like to sit in a theater at midnight with the people who I know give as many shits as I do. But I haven't had that, we haven't had that experience lately. So like I saw 1917 in theaters, and it's just like dudes bringing their girls. The girl's like, what the hell am I watching here? So she busts out her phone, and it's happening all over the place. It's just, I'm happy because I can control it. I'm sad because it feels like this. It's not, I'm with you, Sean. It's not going to kill the movie theaters, but I hope it lights a fire under them to become better, because the experience deserves to be better. And I just hope they realize that in 100 years, I don't want my shoes to still be sticking to the floor when I'm walking through a theater. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it really bugs me. It's that kind of stuff. And especially when we're living in a post-COVID world, hopefully, cleanliness is going to jump up a notch. There's a reason the future looks so clean, because they realize that, everything you see, like futuristic stuff, it's all clean and pristine in the utopian looking world. But that's where we should try to get to with our movie theaters, because that's the respect we should be paying this art. And we go to see them in dumps most of the time. And I mean, I hope this at least gives them some incentive to, maybe we might not have as many chains going forward. And that would be sad if we lose out on a Cinemark or just one of them. But if the experience is enhanced, that's kind of what I want. Alamo, take over everything.
And I mean, if the chains are falling and we get more indie movie theaters, then that's good, because that's small business and that's more competition and less of a market share being shared by just one huge corporation. So I would be there for having more indie movie theaters out. It's just that they don't have as much stake in making decisions as something like an AMC or a Cinemark or a Regal, because they do have that big name.
Took AMC 30 minutes to get a memo, and then bam, they had a statement ready. Like, this is bad for us. But it's like, AMC, you're not, like, your only argument for them is we can't have the movie, so don't release your movie. That's all. That's the only argument that these theaters have been able to come up with, rather than, well, maybe let's do something to help. Like, let's maybe retrofit our theaters to be a little safer. Like, not have, like, you can't, I just feel like the theaters haven't done a good job at making their argument. I feel like they've relied on fans.
I think that they're trying. They're doing as best as they can.
But they're not acting like their life depends on it, to be completely honest. And they should be.
Their life does depend on it. Like,
it does.
AMC just had to, like,
they're not acting like it does.
Yeah. But I mean, to give them credit, like, I mean, I can only speak for myself in the sense that, like, born and raised in New York, some of the theaters were really crappy. But if you go for example, like the AMC's in New York or here in Los Angeles, a lot of theaters are been being upgraded. Like the ones I used to always go to in Burbank, California, they had the Dolby Vision, the Dolby Atmos sound, and then they had the reclining seats, and
nice.
The sound is like, I like sitting in the middle. Like Colin used to like sitting in the back. I love sitting in the middle, and I love going to the first like screenings now too, like the 6 or the 7 p.m. screening the first night where all the fans that's how I saw Endgame.
As much as I do.
Yeah, I don't trust it at all.
I don't trust the internet at all.
But to be fair, I also like going to see it. Like, I'm really weird. I love going to see the first showing, like on an Endgame or something like that. But then I also like going to it again when there's not a lot of people in there, because I know the fanboys going to be like, "Yay!" and I'm like, I can't hear what they just said because we're all cheering. So then I want to go again where I can actually hear it. So I always want the movie experience. I hope it doesn't go away. I don't think it will. I think this is just an experiment and a way for them to like, hey, well, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's get our subscribers up. This is a good way to get subscribers and keep them. It's funny how their free trial ends. HBO's free trial ends before Wonder Woman comes out. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. But I want you guys' thoughts here. So this is the list.
Disney Plus did that for Hamilton.
Oh, well, yeah, all those things are not by accident. So
there's too
here's
many
a list
out there too. Like everyone's saying that this is, calling the doomsday of the whole thing. 2021 and all this situation, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to take everything that's happening right now as everybody's just trying to get by.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got to do what they got to do.
Trying to find a way to make the most amount of money. All right, so here's the list of all the major movies that are coming out on HBO Max / theaters. So I'm gonna start with Bogz here. Bogz, what is the movie that you're most excited for to see from Warner Brothers, potentially in your own home in 2021?
The answer, to be honest, is I don't know. Because I don't. To be fair, I don't know what some of them movies are.
No,
I've not
the
seen
list is right here.
who stars in them. No, but I mean, I don't know who's starring in them, who's directing, what's them
Oh,
about.
gotcha. I hear what you're saying.
I only know kind of the popular ones, or like the top 6, maybe the bottom half. I have no idea.
Well, out of the
But
top
from there-
6, what do you like?
So from there, I'm going to say Dune. Matrix as well. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I'll go Dune for now. Yeah, obviously the cast, the sci-fi element, effects and stuff. Matrix as well. Obviously, want to see what that story, what they're doing with that. Hopefully, we'll get a trailer soon. But yeah, the rest. I mean, I need to do my research on what's happening there. But yeah, some good stuff.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, Space
And
Jam.
Wonder Woman as well. It's not on there, I don't think.
Yeah, well, these are all 2021 movies, but definitely, Wonder Woman would be on here for sure. Colin, you see this list? What sticks out to you the most?
There's only one.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam.
There's only one movie, and this
I
is the
think
only
he's
chance for
referring to
LeBron
Space Jam.
James to truly supplant Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time. Is he has to save the world with the Looney Tunes by his side. That's the only thing he hasn't done. And Space Jam 2, so excited. It's the only chance I'm going to have this year to see Klay Thompson play basketball. So I'm in. But
Facts.
seriously, it's Dune. It's Dune. Dune's the only
Well,
answer.
because I Michael Jordan's still the GOAT, regardless of how this movie turns out.
This is the only
but
shot LeBron has to actually get on an even playing field, because MJ can still walk out and be like, well, I helped him.
Space Jam.
I did. I was in Space Jam.
Yeah, he's the reason there's a Space Jam. There's no Space Jam without Michael Jordan. That's why LeBron's doing Space Jam 2. Now, maybe LeBron could say in the long run, maybe his movie is better. Maybe we'll find out. Or more iconic. I don't know if that's possible, but so you look at this list. What's sticking out to you?
So my Dune book is actually on my other shelf, so I can't pull it out. I am excited for that, but if I were being honest with everyone, the movie I'm most excited for is In the Heights. Lin-Manuel Miranda, although he's now not playing Usnavi, he's playing the Piragua guy, which is the guy that sells the ice and stuff. And I hear that they're changing up the story a little bit more to have more like DACA be a part of it. Whereas because when the play came out, it was focused on a little bit of a different things. And also it has a Trump line, which they changed now to Tiger Woods, because it's like being rich like Trump. Now it's like being rich like Tiger Woods kind of thing, because it is about, there's a lottery and people trying to buy lottery tickets and stuff. And that plays a part of the musical, but it's just Latinos on screen, and it's a Latino story set in New York, and it has Cubans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, literally just all the diversity that you see in the Latino community. And I just can't wait to see it on the screen. We need more Latino movies on screen in movie theaters and also on streaming sites.
Nice.
Yes, we do. And then we're gonna get to a Latino starring in something pretty soon. But for me, this list is there's a couple on here. It's Matrix 4 and it's Godzilla versus Kong. Like we reviewed Kong King of the Monsters when it came out, and just seeing that movie in IMAX.
Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'm sorry. Like seeing that movie in IMAX of Godzilla just destroying and wrecking shop and killing titans, and that's something that you want to see on the big screen. And I'm like, man, do I really want to watch that at home? I mean, I guess I have to, but do I want to? No. Do I want to see The Matrix 4? The Matrix potentially coming back to prominence and glory from the first one, not really the second two.
I have a
wanna
strange point that I think I saw somebody make, and Mike Kalinowski, our good man, the killer himself from the Schmodown, gone back and forth with someone saying, "Look, man, first time I watched a lot of movies, it was on a 4x3 television because I was 7 years old and I had VHSs, and I still love those movies the exact same way. I saw Star Wars on a TV that's no bigger than the computer screen I'm looking at right now for the first time, and I love those movies exactly the same. I think we can all take this for like 1 year. I think that's the big thing. I hear yeah, you don't want to, but if the story's good, the story's good. And I have a feeling we're going to see these theaters get these movies back in theaters, and there's nothing stopping us from going and seeing them in theaters after we've already seen them on streaming. I think that's
absolutely.
I don't know why that's not really more of the conversation with these theaters, is like that you are going to get these movies regardless. It's just whenever you're open, you can still have them. Like, because I'm pretty sure theaters can like still re-up to, put a movie back in theaters.
Yeah, and I bet you Warner Brothers. I agree with you, and I bet Warner Brothers would do that. Like if in 2022, if it's safe, you don't think like they'll have a special screening for almost all these major movies at some point? Like
pay $100 and come see all 6 of these movies.
Exactly.
And you get like a punch card. You pay $100. You get a punch card. All right, cool. He's watched The Matrix. All right, cool. He's watched Dune. All right, cool. And they could do it a weekend at a time,
something like that,
for 1 weekend, and they would make an ass of money. You make money. You make your money back in your opening weekend. That's it. You make your money back in your opening weekend. Everything else is candy. If they
something
could put
like
them out
that,
for 1 week.
Like for me, I get what you're saying, Colin. Like obviously, I'm not gonna be crying that I'm watching it on a 4K TV at home. But the way my thought process always was, and obviously it has to change a little bit for now and for next year in certain cases, that like if I saw a movie at home that I could have seen in the theater, I was like, oh man, I should have seen this in the theater. The experience would have been so much better. Like, does that diminish the movie itself for me? No. But in my mind, it's just like, oh, I would have liked my first experience if I had the choice to be in the theater with a certain movie. Like if I really love Godzilla vs. Kong, I'd be like, oh man, I wish I could have seen that in the theater. Like would that diminish my love for the movie or hate for the movie if I don't like it? No. But my preference would be obviously always to see it in the theater first, because that experience is the best experience. You can't replicate IMAX at home. You just can't.
They also took our IMAX away, so I guess I'm a little.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm salty. We had one IMAX in our area, and the theater got bought out, and they changed it, and now the best we have is like the Regal RPX thing that they have, where I guess it's different, but it's not. It's not quite the it's not quite the IMAX, especially when you know that like the Russo bros are out there like shooting everything with the IMAX camera, in IMAX cameras, right? Like,
would I like to see an Endgame at home first? No, but if I had to, if Endgame were to come out like next year, and I had to watch it at home, obviously I would watch it at home and I would enjoy it. But seeing Endgame,
because we don't
watch The Mandalorian every week at home.
Yeah. Well, but if Disney was like, hey, but the season finale, we'll put it in the theater.
We'd be there right now. Bogz,
you know what I'm saying?
The theater's open. Let's go. Come on. Actually, you might need a boat to get here. I don't know if you could fly here. You might need a boat.
Well, we definitely couldn't go over there. UK's like, Americans, doors closed.
You can come to our country. We can't come to yours.
Okay. Bogz like, oh, you Americans. Soul, any last thoughts on this story before we move on?
Well, I was thinking too, the movie my dad is most excited for. He is a Sopranos fan, and he watches The Sopranos probably once, twice, 3 times a year. If he's like, oh, I have nothing to watch, I'm going to... Yes, the whole thing. He knows it by heart. He watches it over and over and over again. So he is excited for Many Saints of Newark. So I know that I'll have to be like, hey, Dad, it's on, and you have 30 days. You have 30 days to watch this.
So the question would be like, how many times is he going to watch it in those 30 days? Once a day. Once a day. Yeah, I mean
Probably.
that the Sopranos prequel is a good pick. The way that James
That's an
Gandolfini's son is
HBO
going to
Max
play
movie, though, right?
him.
That smells like a streaming
Mm.
film. That doesn't
I mean,
smell to
but-
me like a movie I want to go pay money to see in theaters because, sorry, the Entourage movie should not have been released in theaters, HBO. That was a
no.
bad move.
But I would tell you this. Probably, I agree with you only until I seen the trailer. If the trailer would be like,
Okay,
oh my god, I'm going to see it in the theater.
I'm with you.
then-
I'm with it.
I would-
Right.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah. All right, Bogz. Any last thoughts?
Not really. Just overall, either way. I mean, I hope I get it in time as you guys do. I hope they get that sorted. But overall, I just want to say that it is. I'd call this a first world problem. You know, like we're choosing. Oh, you know, being spoiled brats. Oh, cinemas, home, whatever. It really doesn't matter. We do get to see it. So either way, if it's at home, it's at home for me. But overall, I'll just be happy to see it. But yeah, ideally cinema if I can. If I can't, it'll be home. So,
Yeah, trust me, Bogz. We know that this is not the biggest, controversy or biggest thing to deal with.
yeah, no, I didn't
We
mean
know,
to
but-
make that melodramatic.
No. I know. But it is what it is. It's obviously it's a business decision that Warner Brothers is making. I can understand and respect their decision. Obviously, theater companies are not happy with it, but Warner Brothers has to do what they got to do to stay afloat. I mean, what else? What else they gonna? They have, what else they gonna do? Colin, any other last thoughts before we move on?
No, just that I'm more okay with it probably than the average person screaming into their Twitter account. Like I was saying before, it's a lot of it felt like there were way too many Chicken Littles this week that felt like this is the end. And I'm sorry, if you think that this is the end, then you really haven't been paying enough attention to Netflix and what Netflix has been doing over the last 4 years. Because like Bogz was saying, he thought this was going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, regardless. And I mean, I've been listening to podcasts for people over the last 10 years saying, let me pay $200 a month for a box for the rights to watch these movies at home in my home theater. And we're just slowly getting to that point to where you're just going to have to pay the premium, but it's going to turn out that going to the theater is going to cost more. And unfortunately, it's probably not going to turn into Broadway. I think that's the thing a lot of people are afraid of, is that the movie theater experience is on the Broadway track where it's going to be harder and harder to see it because it's more expensive. But hopefully my thought is that just the theaters can level up, take this time for the theaters to realize that like y'all are dying because you were complacent for a really long time. And you were
put these down. Put these down when you're watching.
Absolutely.
Check your phone in make people check their phones in at the theater.
I'd be okay with
seriously.
that.
You check in a box, put it in a bag, make you put it in a bag. Like I can't take my phone into the okay, this is gonna sound really snobby, but when my family has tickets to the Masters golf tournament, you're not allowed to take your phone into the tournament. There are no phones at all, no cameras unless you're media. That's the kind of if a bunch of people can go watch golf for 6 hours, 10 hours without their phones, you can go 2 hours without your phone in a movie theater. And some people
I think it's
can't,
eventually going to have to get to that point.
because it's ridiculous. It's too much. It's gotten to the point where like I everything at the movie theater annoys me. So whether it's somebody, I guess it's different. It's like it's my money, right? It's not like I'm a kid and my parent paid for me to go to the theater and I'm just with my parent watching the theater. Like this is my hard-earned money that I'm going to spend this, to watch a movie. And I want to have the best experience possible. And if that has to be at home for a little while, I'm good. I'll live with it.
Yeah, I hear you. But I do agree with you in a sense, and then we'll move on, is that I think that the movie theater experience has to change. I think it's going to have to evolve. But the AI, I'd be okay with paying more money for a better experience less times. Like movies like Godzilla versus Kong, like Matrix 4, Avengers, things like that. If I had to pay like $35, $40 for like a big screen, a wide seat, a reclining seat, less people in the theater, like cell phones checked in, I'm down for that. Give me that. I think it eventually has to go that way one way or the other. Less movies.
No
in
more
the
comedies
theater.
at the movie theaters. No
Yeah.
more comedies. We do not need
Yeah, I
to
don't need
watch
to
a
see that.
comedy movie because and we can end it after this. This has been my biggest thing over the last 3 years is that Netflix has done a really great job of creating movies that would have been box office smash hits in the early 2000s. They would have been killers. Like like everything they've done over the last couple of years when it comes to the rom-coms and all that stuff are movies I no longer need to see in theaters. I don't need to pay money to see Adam Sandler on a movie screen anymore. And now he's making his bank doing it in Netflix. But he's that kind of stuff. We don't need to pay for that in a theater experience because if a joke's funny, guess what? I probably am going to have a clearer vision of a comedy if I'm sitting at home watching it by myself. Because people laugh in the theater and then it's a group thing and you laugh because they laugh and it might not actually be that funny.
Oh, that happens all the time. All right. Next topic. All right. It is Hawkeye cast revealed. So the HBO streaming show Hawkeye from
Disney Plus streaming show.
Oh Jesus! I'm sorry. It's still early. It's still early in the West Coast for me. So Disney Plus is they're starting to shoot Hawkeye for Marvel Studios. The whole cast got revealed. So this is one of the shows that when they originally got announced, it kind of got put on the back burner a little bit initially, and then as it started to pick up steam, like with WandaVision and Falcon versus and the Winter Soldier. It started to build a little bit of momentum. So obviously, Jeremy Renner has returned. Haley Steinfeld is playing Kate Bishop, which is a rumor for a while that Disney never quashed. So obviously, it was true because they never said, well, she's not playing Kate Bishop. So obviously now she is playing Kate Bishop. So they already started shooting it. It takes place a couple of years later. Then Infinity War ended. So Infinity War ended in the Marvel universe in 2023. This takes place, well, some of the series takes place in 2025. So it's really interesting to see what happens to Hawkeye, how he meets Kate Bishop, what's going to happen in this story. I am also curious and excited that we're still going to get some flashbacks of him as Ronin, because Hawkeye has got the short shaft out of all the Avengers in terms of in terms of screen time. Like he got shortchanged, like he was barely in Thor. It was just a cameo. He got shortchanged in Avengers because he was a zombie for half of it. In Age of Ultron, he did okay, and then they started introducing his family. He wasn't in Infinity War. He kind of was in Endgame. He was in Civil War. So it's great to see Jeremy Renner get an opportunity and a spotlight to shine
He was
with
in Civil
his
War.
character. Yeah, he was in Civil War. Yeah, I said that.
Okay. I thought you said he wasn't in Civil War. I was like, wait, what?
No, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
He was
Obviously,
awesome.
in Civil War. Yeah. And I always like Jeremy Renner's character. He is on a DL hilarious. Like some of his lines in Age of Ultron, where he's like pointing the arrow at Quicksilver, is like, nobody would know. Nobody would know. Where's Quicksilver?
I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow. Like,
Yeah, I'm just a guy with an arrow. So that kind of humor, I think Jeremy Renner is good at, and I'm so happy. Like I love Hawkeye, I love the character. I'm so when his show got announced, I was like, yes. Would I have loved to see him in a Black Widow prequel movie so we could finally figure out what happened in Budapest? Yes.
Well, I'm pretty sure you are.
I hope we find out what happened in Budapest.
Pretty sure
They
you
mentioned
are.
it. They mentioned it too many times for us to not find out about it. That's what I'm saying. So, one way or the other, they have to answer that because I want to know. All right, so you hear about this Hawkeye cast being revealed and they're starting shooting, and we're probably going to get it sometime next year. Yay! What are your thoughts about the show, the cast? What kind of storyline we might expect? What are your initial thoughts?
So when this was announced, I was very excited. Everyone go read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye.
Man, that's what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
You can still say it.
You can still say, you can repeat me. But I love Haley Steinfeld. I think she's going to be perfect as Kate Bishop. I'm interested in Florence Pugh being a part of this show.
Yes.
And I'm guessing she's taking up the mantle of Black Widow as she has in the comics. comics. There we go. And then one character that I am most intrigued about, because I'm going to be the person here always saying, yes, more diversity. We have, and I do not want to pronounce her name wrong, but I probably am, Alequia Cox. Her last name's Cox. Because she's a deaf Native American actor and she's playing Echo. And that is just awesome. And also for comic book readers, you know that Hawkeye himself, Clint Barton, is deaf in the comics, and they have casted the clown. So I think we're going to get Clint Barton becoming deaf. I think we're going to see some ASL on this show. I think we're going to have more representation, not just for deaf people, but also like Native American representation. And I am 100% down for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Florence Pugh is great, and it goes to show you that like that Black Widow movie has to come out before this show comes out, because obviously we get introduced to her in that movie, and she probably takes on the mantle there, and then somehow it gets tied back into Hawkeye at some point where she meets up with him and like, hey, I'm the new Black Widow now. We can have our own Budapest or something. But yeah. The cast is well diverse. Like you will not be the only one speaking for diversity. I will always be speaking for diversity as well. So I'm excited for this series. Bogz, what you hear about this story, or what do you think?
So yeah, I mean, I like how can I say, the passion that you said there, but I'm gonna go a little bit opposite from you. Okay, so I do really like Hawkeye in the MCU, basically, just to clarify. In Avenger movies, any of the Marvel movies, is absolutely great, and Black Widow. But these two, I'd say Black Widow and Hawkeye, they were probably the least I've been interested in seeing a solo project of. So I wasn't particularly interested about this. And then I did see the cast, and it did raise my interest. Not massively, I'd say quite a bit, but yeah, the cast absolutely, like you said, genuinely talented people on there. Vera Farmiga, I mean, I've been interested in her. So I've had a thing for her since like The Departed days when she's come through there. Florence Pugh, like everything she does is on point. Like she can do horror, she can do action, she can do a family movie. I compare it to like, I put in the same bracket as like Emily Blunt. Like everything they do is just on point, on fire. Yeah, action stars, horror movies, family movies, like they're all on point. But I do have to agree with what you said there. So I was kind of initially, when this got announced, I did read the kind of cast list: Jeremy Renner, Haley Steinfeld, Vera Farmiga, Florence Pugh. I was like, come on, guys! Like, at least I understand it's an Eastern European, the agents and things like that, but at least put a bit of diversity. But I did see the lady that you said, and Zahn McClaren. I just need to give him a shout out because he's also a Native American actor. He's in Doctor Sleep. I thought he was arguably the best character in Doctor Sleep. I loved him in that movie. I did really like that movie as well. I thought that was one of the best of 2019 in my own kind of top 10 list. And he's in Bone Tomahawk as well. If you've ever seen that, it's a Western starring of Kurt Russell, a little bit horror-ish as well. So I really love that movie. He's also, he's got a large part in that. So shout out to him. But overall, yes, definitely raised my interest. But not kind of over the top. I'm more looking forward to, I'd say, probably WandaVision or definitely Falcon and the Winter Soldier over this. I'm not going to lie. And obviously the whole host of other shows, Moonlight, etc. But yeah, it did. It's good cast, so definitely more interested.
Well, would you say like you would need to see the trailer for it to pique your interest even more? So
that always helps. Of course, that always helps. Yeah, seeing where they go.
Just read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, dude. This because the reason Soul and I jumped off the ledge for this is because they revealed the logo, and it's the Hawkeye logo from the comic that they're basing this off of. And Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye is transformative. He takes
Colin,
dude that
pick
you
it up
had
there.
He takes the dude that you had no interest in Avengers. He takes that person that you think is boring and you had no interest in, and he makes him relatable.
I didn't say boring. Like what I mean is,
he didn't say boring, but he didn't entice you to see a film. So that's
Black Widow and Hawkeye are not superheroes. They're Avengers, absolutely, but they're not Iron Man. They're not Hulk. They're not.
They're superheroes. Don't shortchange people like that. They're superheroes. They save the world.
Batman's a superhero. He doesn't have powers. He's a superhero.
Oh, no, he
shot an arrow at Loki that Loki thought was he caught, and it exploded in his face. And Hawkeye did that. No one else. Hawkeye did that.
He's a good shot. He's a good agent.
But this is a
Yeah.
story that's going to get you because it's going to provide depth to Hawkeye. Because just from looking at this cast list, they have what's his name? They have Tony Dalton is playing Jack.
Yes.
Tony Dalton playing
I love
Jack
Tony Dalton.
is the biggest Jack. I will totally butcher his last name. Ducanese. It's French. I'm just butchering it completely. But he's the carny who teaches Hawkeye how to survive as an orphan in the carnival and becomes part. That's how Hawkeye becomes who he is. He doesn't have a red room. He has a sadistic, messed up carnival runner who teaches him how to get by on life. And that's the story I've been looking for, to answer those questions, to satisfy that I wish they could be more. Well, here's why they are the way they are, and they are more. And because I think that's the thing. It's because you didn't have a Hawkeye movie and you didn't have a Black Widow movie, and then they're put in Avengers, but everyone else had their own films. And so obviously they're up on a higher pedestal. Now let's give him his origin story. Let's let you know why he's important. And then you'll go back and watch those movies and be like, man, we got some more depth here, and they can reveal some more of the stuff. But overall, I'm super excited that this show just exists because I think I read the Matt Fraction stuff in like 4 days. I once I found it, I was like, this is just eating it up. And they're doing the same stuff here that they're going to do with Jason Aaron's Thor run for Thor Love and Thunder. They're taking Matt Fraction and Jason Aaron are probably the two best working writers at Marvel right now, and they are showing finally their stuff is getting some respect and getting. I mean, they've created lore for these characters that we now see just as as important as Martha's pearls getting shot off in the alley. So this is good stuff as far as I'm concerned. The cast is fantastic. Haley Steinfeld's going to knock it out of the park. She's a star. And it's just gonna. I love her take over, even though I love Bumblebee. I think Bumblebee is way better than a lot of people give it credit for. I think it's fantastic. She's fantastic in it, and for this show, it's just going to lead straight into Young Avengers, which is my hope. Is that this is the first spot of Young Avengers, and that is a film the world is not ready for.
Cassie Lang.
Oh, we're trust me, we're ready for it. I think I remember people saying like when Endgame came out, this is the last Avengers movie. You're like, are you on drugs? There's always going to be another Avengers.
You know who
the Avengers as we knew them is gone.
You ever heard of Kang the Conqueror? Like,
yeah, well, that's a rumor in Ant-Man 3 that we're getting Kang. So, but we're definitely getting an Avengers team again. It's just a matter of who's going to be on the team, and I think all these shows are just slowly introducing us to new people that are eventually going to be on the team. Like Florence Pugh is the new Black Widow. Kate Bishop is going to be the new Hawkeye. Who's going to take over as Iron Man? Who's going to take over for Cap? Obviously, Scott Lang's daughter is probably going to be Stilts. Who knows? Like, who else are we going to bring? And I think all these shows, you're getting a Miss Marvel show, which I'll bring up in a second. Oh, we're getting all these things, and eventually these shows, we're getting a She-Hulk movie. All these things are going to lead into the next Avengers movies and to stage the rest of Phase 4 and going into Phase 5. But the thing that I'm really looking forward to the most is seeing more Jeremy Renner as the Ronin character. They never used Ronin, that name, but I'm really excited to see more of that. Like, that was really interesting in Endgame to see, like, hey, my family got dusted. I got nothing to live for. I'm just going to go... I got some bloodlust. I'm just gonna start murdering some thugs and some gangsters. Because why shouldn't I? I got nothing else to lose. So I love the fact to see him deal with that and go through. And then also, how's he gonna face his family once his family sees his family again? What's that conversation gonna be looking like? Maybe he can't face them. Maybe he can't look at his wife and be like,
he lives in an apartment complex, and the Matt Fraction, the whole story, the best part of the whole comic is him dealing with the dude he's got to pay, that he's got to pay rent to because he doesn't live at home. He lives in a hotel.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's gonna have to get there somehow, and I think it might be like he can't face his wife, he can't face his kids. He has literally blood on his hands, and maybe he has to put himself in exile for a little bit to kind of, get back some goodwill in his own mind and maybe that's how he ends up in that apartment building, and maybe
I
that's
think
how he
that's how
finds
we
Kate
meet
Bishop.
Kate, and I think Kate is going to be his saving grace. I think he's really going to have a hard time, and she creating a relationship with her will save his relationship with his family. And I think it'll also save, it might be something where he takes himself out of the scenario, like you're saying, Sean, and he doesn't believe in his ability to love or his ability to be a family man again. And Kate teaches him how to be that man again. And because you're right, Bogz, we never see this dude. Like, we've never seen fully, badass Hawkeye until Ronin, and I'm sitting there like, well, dang, that guy's out here taking some dudes down and this gnarly stuff, and like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be deep. I think it's gonna be way better than a lot of people are expecting.
Yeah, I think so. So here's what we're gonna do. So now that we have a little bit more information on the Hawkeye show, the Disney Plus Marvel shows are starting to round into shape a little bit more. So this is kind of the slate as we know it right now. So obviously, this year we should have already gotten the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're gonna get WandaVision early next year. Sometime next year, we're also gonna get the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're probably also gonna get Loki. The Hawkeye show will obviously have to come out sometime after the Black Widow movie premieres. We're getting She-Hulk. We're getting Miss Marvel. We're getting Moon Knight. The What If. Not a lot of people are talking about What If. That animated show looks incredible. Like, I was at D23 when they shot premiered the first trailer. Like, those stories the animation looked amazing. The stories look interesting. So I'm looking forward to that show. But out of all these shows you guys see, I'll start with you, Colin. What of these shows are you most looking forward to?
There's only one answer to this. It's Moon Knight. It's Moon Knight.
Oh, okay.
It's Moon Knight. Moon Knight is he is Batman, but better. And when I say better, I mean a better character to write stories about, because Batman can, for a very long, Batman is one note. I love Batman to a T, but there's a lot about Batman that anyone can write a good Batman story. There's a lot there to go off of. Moon Knight is complex. I don't know if anyone knows this. Moon Knight has multiple personalities syndrome. Dude has a problem keeping it on the rails. He goes off the rails all the time. This is going to be an insanely complicated show with Oscar Isaac being asked to do things like, I don't know if everyone here is familiar with The Dark Knight Returns, the story, the scene where Batman goes full like old lady in the drugstore and beats up the dudes. That's Mark Spector on a daily basis. The dude loses himself in other identities for days at a time. And the comics have done a beautiful job of you not even knowing that you're from his perspective. I think that's the beauty of what this show is going to do. It's going to do a great job of tricking the audience into not realizing they're watching a superhero show or a great detective show. I think he's the MCU's opportunity to have their great detective, but tackle it from a deeper perspective. And so, I've been excited for Moon Knight ever since they said in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, when they throw Jasper Sitwell off the roof and he says a news anchor in Cairo, Mark Spector, was the first reference to him in the MCU, and I've been excited for him ever since.
And that's when we got our Doctor Strange reference too, right?
And
that's what we got,
an Amadeus Cho. I guarantee you that the valedictorian from Iowa City is Amadeus Cho. I guarantee it. Our future Hulk.
Oh, I mean, well, there's a Hulk on this screen. So, Soul, you see this list. What excites you the most?
So I will say that there's one column that excites me just from comic book wise, but I will pick one so that way I'm playing the game, and that's going to be Miss Marvel, which, if you want to go read comics, she's not very old. You can pretty much catch up on a lot of the comics that she's in, because I think it's around 2014 is when she was first introduced.
Yeah,
2013. Yeah, with G. Willow Wilson, No Normal. So yeah, just go check her out. She's awesome, and
she's the main character of a freaking Avengers video game.
Yep.
She's the main character. My brother, my 16-year-old brother, plays through the game. He's like, so Kamala Khan, am I right? And I'm like, wait, what? He's saying they're in. The younger generation is fully in. They got them with the video games. And like, so yeah, the comics are fantastic. It's too good.
So there you go. Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I love your pick as Miss Marvel. I'll go next here. All these shows are great. I'm going to nerd out on all of these when I start seeing them, and obviously the closest one is WandaVision. But I'm gonna pick She-Hulk, and here's why. Obviously, we're gonna get Mark Ruffalo back as Hulk. We're gonna get She-Hulk, and I'm curious to see if they're gonna do the same blood transfusion thing. They probably are, but I think this show is the perfect, and I do mean perfect, opportunity to bring in Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
And the rights have already gone back to Marvel, so they couldn't have started. People were like, well, they could have put him in Spider-Man. No, they couldn't have, because that production already started before the rights went back, so they were not allowed to have done that. So that's out. But
didn't they do that with Civil War? Sorry, nope. I'm gonna get you there. Civil War, they opened that theater with Black Panther and did not have the Spider-Man deal done yet. Spider-Man was not in that film when they started production on Civil War. So I think there is a chance that they could do something.
It was done. They had two scripts for Civil War, one with Spider-Man and one without. And if they couldn't go get the deal done, they were going to go with the script that didn't. They got the deal done, and then they started shooting. So because that was a negotiation thing with Sony. This is a rights thing, which is a little bit different. They didn't have the rights to Matt Murdock until a couple of days ago, and they've been Spider-Man, whatever they're gonna call it, something home, already started shooting, so they can't put him in there now. They can put him into She-Hulk, because She-Hulk's gonna have court proceedings. That's a perfect opportunity to bring Matt Murdock in there. A perfect opportunity.
And it has to be Charlie Cox. It has to be Charlie Cox.
I don't disagree. Kevin Feige already said he loves Charlie Cox's portrayal of Matt Murdock. Maybe he'd be less bloody now because it's on Disney. But regardless, I think She-Hulk is a perfect way to bring him in now. Will it happen? I don't know. Would I like to see it happen?
I just watched Boba Fett stab a guy in the chest this week. I think we can handle Matt Murdock like a bunch of dudes in the face. I think we're
but you see how in The Mandalorian, no blood, right? So in Daredevil, he can't be as bloody,
I guess the blood version in Star Wars this week was actually seeing the stormtroopers, their helmets, pieces flying off of it, as if that would be blood. That's the closest we're gonna get. So,
if the blood was a different color.
Yes.
Well, if you're beating up aliens, or robots, obviously that's fine. Humans, you kind of have to do a lot of cutaways and and different angles to get away with that kind of violence, especially PG-13 violence. But you can push PG-13 a long way.
She can have green blood. She could be bloody.
She probably does have green blood. She probably does. But that's the only reason. Obviously, I love all these shows, but I think the reason I like She-Hulk is because I think that's the perfect opportunity to bring in Matt Murdock. Will it happen? Maybe not, but I could dream. Bogz, you see this list? What do you think?
Firstly, that Matt Murdock reference that you said, I did see the news a couple of days ago. I would have loved to see him as Spider-Man. I've grown up with them stories, Spider-Man, Matt Murdock. Obviously, it's too late to happen, like you said, but that's I would absolutely love that. Okay, so from this list, though, I'd probably say the top three, because these are direct continuations of the MCU in terms of, what happens next, from Endgame, basically, right? So I kind of want to know what's happening with all them. But obviously, I need to give a shout out to Miss Marvel, being a Pakistani Muslim hero, and obviously Moon Knight being Latino. These kind of stories will interest people where, around the world that don't necessarily watch the MCU, don't necessarily watch superhero movies, that kind of thing. So can't wait for that. And the bigger Disney Plus go, obviously, like I said as well, Disney Plus have got the size from one original series. Imagine all these on top, all being linked into the MCU. These guys are going to absolutely take over. And and yeah, just obviously linking up to the movies and stuff. Can't wait. But yeah, overall, I'd say the top three and the other two for and you know, the bigger they and the larger they grow, the more diverse stories that they can get. So they can include other
Absolutely.
heroes and things like that, other stories, as opposed to the same kind of same kind of stories over and over. But yeah, can't wait. All of them are getting watched, reviewed, and stuff. So yeah, can't wait.
Oh, absolutely. And think about this. We potentially might get 5 of these next year. We're definitely getting WandaVision. We're definitely going to get Falcon and the
Like, you
Winter
have
Soldier.
to.
We're going to get Loki.
All the movies as well. This is like
And we're
We're going to
getting
get
What If.
Hawkeye. And we're going to get, potentially we can get What If. We can get 5 of these things next year alone. Which is
Good. We
incredible.
deserve it.
And-
Cheers. to
Yo,
us.
absolutely.
exciting.
Absolutely.
The dates are going to
But
be clashing.
I want to bring up something
Crazy.
bring up something Soul and Bogz just said about Miss Marvel. That kind of show is a great way to expose that kind of like a character like her to people who don't see people like that all the time. Like I don't know if you guys watch This Is Us. I love This Is Us. And the
Seen the
black
first
family
season.
Colin's shaking no, Bogz is kind of shaking yes.
I know what it is.
So okay, but the black family in that show, the exposure to how they interact together, people are saying a lot of people in the middle of the country love that because that's their introduction to how a black family acts because that show is so popular. So I think seeing a show, especially I think Miss Marvel is the most important of all those shows because I think they're going to show Muslim American life in a way that some people have never seen before. You know what I'm saying? So that show is really, really important because Kamala Khan might be the first Muslim person people, especially in the United States, get to know. You know what I mean? And get to experience and get to like. And maybe their young daughter might be like, who's not Muslim, might be like, oh, I love Kamala Khan. I want to dress up like her for Halloween. That's gonna happen at some point, and I think that's amazing, and that's going to happen, and I can't wait for it to happen. So I think that's one of the most important. That's probably the most important of that list. But
I agree. Can I just add to that?
of course,
Yes, like absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Even though I'm not gonna lie, like there are like 2 billion Muslims around the world, so I do find that a little bit weird. Just for me personally, just for someone who has, for you to have no interactions with any other Muslim person, it is a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. But on the I think me and Sol were talking off camera. Like for example, I know people, Muslim, Middle Eastern, Asian, that had never seen a Disney movie until they seen Aladdin, because that identifies with them. They recognize, the characters, the stories. It's an old tale, old folklore tales and stuff like that. So that kind of thing is embedded in their culture. So hence, that's why that's their reference, that's their in, and it will be the same thing with Miss Marvel, absolutely. So yeah, that's definitely what I've got my eyes on that. And not only that, it's to represent just modern society. Represent, how they're going to be shown on screen and things like that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
no, like Bogz, I'm saying like I live in a diverse city in Los Angeles, but there's parts of the country
surrounded
where
by white people. There's
are
nothing
not
but white
diverse,
people
yeah.
here. I don't even know if I'm
course,
not even
of course.
joking. I don't know where the nearest mosque is to me.
Right.
I
But you can find out, right?
right,
But, I mean,
but I
you
should.
go on holiday,
I would
right?
know,
That kind of stuff,
right?
I'm saying.
Right, like
You
it's
should know.
and,
Yeah, I get what your point. Okay.
and then to relate it over to Moon Knight, Mark Spector is probably going to be one of the first openly, like he's a Jewish American, and he's travels to Egypt and gets blessed by an Egyptian god. That's how he gets his powers. So we're going to go over to Africa and get into Northern African culture. And that's something that a lot of people on this side of the globe are not exposed to at all. And if it is, it's slaves building the pyramids or having arguments about whether aliens built them. So it's going to be nice to actually get into the culture of that. The closest I ever got to it was, just mainlining Yu-Gi-Oh as a child. And a lot of that stuff is rooted in Egyptian culture. And it's just knowing all of that, well, at least my brain being aware of the names and then being able to relate it to what the lore of it is. Disney's on the right track. Disney's not dumb. Disney's doing a really good job here of creating they have an endless tapestry, but These are characters that are being revamped now. Like you were saying, Miss Marvel's just started 2014. That's 6 years ago. So we are 6 years into an openly Muslim superhero being, in that being a part of her life in that story. That's what we need. Like, and Sean, I'm with you on This Is Us. I just don't need my emotion porn. That's what I call it. It's emotion porn. And
it can be.
I cry watching anime, which I'll talk about later. I cry watching everything. Like, I cry watching The Mandalorian. Like, I'll literally, like, I'm a Cancer. I'm an emotional being. And I feel like This Is Us is for people who have a hard time crying and makes them cry. It's like, no, you need to feel things. You need to feel. So feel.
I like it.
I think I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if my dad secretly watches it and it's like his favorite show and it's like the least thing I would ever think my dad would watch, but it's the most popular show on television for a reason. So I mean, I know it's not bad television. It's just not.
It's not bad
television. I've only seen the first season. It's because I, like Colin, I cry at a lot of things. So it's like I can't handle it that much. It's like, okay, I'll watch one episode in like a 3-4 month span, so that way I'm not like too much emotion.
Oh, trust me. As the seasons go along, there's a lot of like, oh my god. I'm not crying. You're crying moments. There's more of it. So if you thought the first season, there's a lot of tears. Oh my
and they
God.
stole my Green Arrow, Justin Hardy. That's my Green Arrow from Small.
Oh yeah.
He was.
Yeah. He was almost Aquaman too, which would have been interesting.
I could go down that rabbit hole. Did you ever see the pilot?
I saw a little bit of it.
The Aquaman pilot. It is fantastically terrible. It is so bad that you look at and you're like, how did this almost happen? And somebody got paid to make a pilot for that show. Oh, it was so bad. Oh, so bad.
But I think that's what they like. But I'm surprised that they like put it on the Smallville bundle. Like why is it there? It shouldn't be there. Anyways, love all. I can't believe we're getting almost all these shows. And who's to say what other shows we're going to be getting? Because I guarantee you, sometime next year, we're going to get announcements of other shows. Like, because almost all that slate's going to be gone by this time next year. Are some of these shows going to get second seasons, or are they just going to have new shows? Who knows? Like, cause a lot, like I don't see Loki getting a second season. This just seems like a one-off for him. I don't know if Hawkeye will get another. That just seems like a one-off and kind of way to introduce Kate Bishop and let them go into other things. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of these things are just one-offs. It wouldn't surprise me if things like Miss Marvel maybe get a second season or two, even though she's probably going to be in the next Captain Marvel movie. But who knows? Like, we don't know. But
I probably think that Falcon Winter Soldier would. I mean, spoiler alert for Endgame. I mean, Falcon's got the shield, but this story, spoiler alert, is going to be America not wanting him to be Captain America.
Yeah.
So the government comes out with their own choice. It's going to be played by
what's his name?
Buff. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. He's
Yeah.
basically going to be playing the government's pick for this. It's
John Walker. Yeah.
John
What is
Walker.
it, U.S. soldier, or what is the name? Something.
U.S. agent.
Agent. U.S. agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of that does that push us then into Captain America 4, right? In theory, it'd be Captain America 4, and it's truly Falcon taking over the mantle, and we're no longer calling him Falcon, because that's the thing about this show. We're still calling him Falcon. We're not calling him Captain America, even though he has the shield. So we are, and I'm totally with you, Boqz. This is that's the one I think I'm most excited for, because it's going to start pushing what's happening in the MCU. We're going to see
Loki with the Tesseract as well.
Loki's not going to. I think Loki's the furthest thing from the real timeline. I think Loki's going to be like Doctor Who. I think it's going to be a little combination of Doctor Who and Legends of Tomorrow, and it's just going to be Loki popping in some places where we're just what? Like, he's
just going to cause a lot of mischief to go with his name. Like what the hell are you doing with this Tesseract? You're creating all these different timelines, and someone's got to stop him. Yeah. But that is a way to get him back into the main timeline. So, like, it depends on what they want to do with it and what Tom Hiddleston's like deal is. Like maybe there's a way to get him back. And then imagine if he's in Thor: Love and Thunder. I know I'd love to see that.
No.
That's
No,
not,
it could be.
that's not happening.
It could
That's
happen.
not-
I'll put
he's died
money
too
down
many
right now.
times. No.
It's probably a long shot, but
I'll put
they-
money down right now. There's no way.
Hey,
he's in
you
Thor:
you
Love.
can't say the percentage is 0. You can't say
I
it's
say the
0.
percentage is 0 because then you ruin
Oof.
all the emotional weight for Thor in one movie. That is a
Yeah.
waste. That is a terrible story making decision after he just lost his brother, and then you get one movie of him. Thor has to be Thor without Loki, and he needs to breathe. He needs to breathe. This Loki story isn't gonna. There's gonna be something that wraps up this Loki story where this is your
It's going to
true
introduce
one-off.
Kang. It's going to introduce Kang.
It could. I mean,
Cool. Then I'm in.
Guys,
I'm in.
they bring people back to the MCU all the time.
Right, but
Yeah.
this whole timeline thing, we've really messed up the whole. It really was a
I
bad.
hate your point. I hate your point. It's
well,
probably
but remember,
too
it's a necessary
convoluted.
evil. That's how do you think they're gonna get the X-Men and Fantastic Four in here? How else they gonna do it with the multiverse?
No,
No.
that's not gonna happen.
WandaVision.
No,
House of
WandaVision.
Well, what do you think?
Yeah,
what do you think
everybody.
Wanda's doing? What do you think Wanda's gonna
House
do?
of M.
House of M. Instead of no
House
more
of M.
mutants,
She
she's going to say
creates-
mutants.
Yeah, she creates mutants.
It's that's a possible.
No,
I mean,
no,
a lot of things are possibilities. Well, I know it, that, but that doesn't mean that's what they're gonna do. I know in House of
They
M,
had-
that's what happened.
So they had two opportunities. When the second Rocket says in Endgame, when Thanos snapped his fingers, there was a release of cosmic energy that we've never felt before. They've already said that's not how the mutants come in. They've already debunked that, and they've already said that's not how it's going to happen. There's no way this is going to be some. I mean, I hear the multiverse of madness. That's the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
That's all gonna be Wanda messing with their multiverse. I'm so weary of all these different people coming.
I
in
mean,
with
if
it.
you look at-
I am with you 100%.
like Spider-Man,
If you
I
look at-
really don't want the other Spider-Man in this movie. That is
It's happening. It's
Spider-Verse.
probably
I-
they already
so
this.
dumb.
Well, there's a thing on the internet that Sony kind of accidentally leaked that's what's happening. That we're gonna get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield as the other Spider-Man. I mean, how it happens, it's happening, but how it happens is now the important thing, and what it actually means. So, like, that's why Scarlet Witch character is so important, and that's why WandaVision is important to see what the hell is she going to be doing and how that impacts the rest of the MCU, and then what does it mean? There's a reason that Doctor Strange's movie is called The Multiverse of Madness. Like, she is going to do some kind of crazy manipulation of the multiverse, and who knows what's going to happen. But that movie is we're going to look back on it and like the MCU changed in that movie. Well, it starts in WandaVision, but I think that Doctor Strange movie is going to be very, very important.
She's the
for the
villain.
rest of-
She's got to be the villain.
Yeah, she's got to be the villain.
Well, she's not. Well, there's a rumor that Nightmare might be in there. I think she's going to be out of control, and I think she's going to start losing control in WandaVision, and then that will be expedited in Doctor Strange too.
He's
She's going to be,
put her down.
and maybe Nightmare like manipulates her. Who knows? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
We'll find-
she is the most powerful character that we currently have.
Her and Captain Marvel.
She would whoop Carol's ass.
Well,
No way.
Kevin Feige said it's Captain Marvel as of right now. That's what Kevin Feige said.
Well, then Kevin Feige said, okay, I believe him. But she would whoop his ass.
Maybe in the comics is one thing, but in the MCU,
because she's limitless. She controls reality, and she doesn't even know it. She's gonna have to have a conversation with somebody. It was Magneto in House of M, but she's gonna have to have some way to supplant that conversation with. You control reality. You are stronger than any of us. Watch out, because this, man.
And I think by the end of WandaVision, I think Colin will be right, and she'll be more powerful than Captain Marvel. I think right now, because she has not realized her full strength, that it is Captain Marvel.
that's possible, 100% possible. But I just think the possibilities are endless. That's a show that's just going to have a lot of tangling spider webs that are going to attach to everything. Like a lot of things are going to be, you're going to look back on like, oh yeah, that's because of WandaVision. Like all these things are going to come back to that show. So that's a show that's going to tie a lot of things together, I think. But I still like hopefully Matt Murdock and She-Hulk. That's just me. All right,
I
last
want it
story.
too. I want that too.
Okay, cool. Soul's on my side. Yay. All right. So Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake. So Oscar Isaac is going to be a busy man soon. Like we brought up Moon Knight, he's going to be starring in that, and now there's rumors that now he's pretty much in final negotiations with Sony to play Solid Snake in the Metal Gear Solid video game franchise. Like, would he have been my first pick as
Absolutely
Solid
not.
Snake? I agree. No, but I mean, like you see a picture, kind of like something like this, and I can see it. But I have come to realize that when people are cast in movies, it's not fair to jump the people making the movie because we don't know what kind of take they're doing. Like for me, it always goes back to Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Everybody jumped it when it first happened. Everybody, like you're gonna get the guy from Brokeback Mountain to play the Joker. Everybody hated it until we saw the first picture and until we saw the trailer, and then we're like, oh, now we get it. So when you see stuff like, or even going back further, when Michael Keaton got cast as Batman, Warner Bros. Was getting letters when there was no internet about like, you're having Mr. Mom play Batman? Are you crazy? Until we saw the movie. So I'm at the point now, it's happened too many times where there's outrage and then like, oh, we get it. So right now, would he be my first pick? No. But for me, it's like, all right, that's the guy now. That's what we're gonna get. Let's see what they do with it now. So when I see the first image, I'll have an opinion. When we see the first trailer, I'll have an opinion. Right now, just like, all right, cool, we're getting a Metal Gear Solid movie. That's interesting. There's better game franchises that we should be getting movies of before this one. Like we're getting an Uncharted movie. That makes sense. There's other movie franchises I would like to see a Legend of Zelda movie or series before I get Metal Gear Solid, but that's just me. But we'll start with you, Bogz. You hear Oscar Isaac playing Solid Snake. What are your thoughts of Oscar Isaac doing it? What are your thoughts of the Metal Gear Solid franchise as a whole? Have you played any of the games?
So, first of all, great point. What you're saying, Sean, about people making assumptions before seeing things. That's definitely something that I don't know if I just have learnt or just other people aren't aware of. That I don't know why people do that. Like really, like write people off before they've seen it. I've noticed recently, you're 100% right about Heath Ledger, but I noticed recent times with John Boyega being cast in the Star Wars franchise. Oh, you could say a few different reasons why, but the online reaction for that casting and for seeing him in the trailer was like how do you know until you've seen the movie if it might be the best thing you've ever seen? So you don't know, right? But yeah, just going back to Metal Gear Solid, I mean, I never really played it, I gotta be honest. I think I was telling Colin this off camera a few days ago. So like I was always, when it was out, I was too young. I remember my dad used to play it and I wasn't really allowed to play it. When I did try and sneak it, it was like too hard for me. So I kind of I kind of grew up on superhero movies or FIFA or Star Wars games, the multitude of Star Wars games. So I kind of missed it. So I do remember the obviously the main character, Solid Jake. I think he looks a bit like him, sure. But I do, just to confirm, the director of this is Jordan Vogt-Roberts, who directed Kong, the latest Kong movie, right? I'm sure Sean. I don't know if you like that one, but obviously Kong, and he's in that whole.
Yeah, I did like it. I loved it.
Yeah. And the producer is Avi Arad, I think his name is, right. So he has I've been aware of this guy for like probably 10 years. Any Marvel MCU thing he's been a part of, whether it's the animation, whether it's the Spider-Man, old Spider-Man movies, the X-Men movies, the Iron Man movie, whatever series I'm talking about, MCU movies or Marvel. So this guy's been a part of it, so I trust him. When I see his name attached to projects, I'm in. So they're bringing the whole superhero, storytelling vibe to it with this guy. So yeah, obviously Oscar Isaac's, for me, he's one of the best characters in the world. Like I pretty much watch anything he's in, excluding the Marvel stuff, excluding Star Wars and this, some of the character acting stuff that he does. So the guy's electric, and I'll watch anything that he's in. So overall happy that he's been casted as Solid Jake.
Yeah, I mean the video games have been hard since the beginning. Like if you play the original NES version of Metal Gear Solid, that game
That
is
game
hard
is
as
so much fun.
shit. It's fun, but it's hard as shit.
Yeah.
Like
I never
I
completed
I remember as a kid playing. I have no idea what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. I got lost a lot of the times. I couldn't figure that game out. I couldn't beat that game as a kid. And then you go into to the PlayStation version of Metal Gear Solid 3 was like me getting reintroduced to it, and I loved that one. As the series kind of went along, I kind of lost a little bit of interest in the franchise because it started to get a little bit too wacky a little bit for me. Like when he started introducing like the other character, I can't remember his name right now. Yeah. But Colin, we'll kick it to you. Like you see Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake. Obviously, you agree with me that wouldn't have been your first pick, but not that is the pick. What do you think, and maybe what kind of storyline do you think they're going to introduce?
That's the whole thing. He's 41. This actor's 41 years old, and he's 5 foot nothing. That ain't Solid Snake. No offense. This is where I'm coming from in terms of the characteristics of what I see visually. I need somebody who can, like, you don't even see the man's face for most of the time. I mean, like, you see the back of his head, and he's got glasses on, and he's got the mono, whatever, his little tracker thing that he puts on. I just don't think Oscar Isaac is the physical body that needs to be acting in this role. If this was an animated thing, or if this was like a voice, type thing, look at that guy. He looks like he's 25. It's a 25-year-old soldier, but we're going to get him in his 40s, and he's already got the eye patch. Him getting the eye patch is one of the dopest stories in the entire universe, and it helps him look grizzled by the time we get to Metal Gear 5, and he kind of is Oscar Isaac's age. I'm just not on board.
He has got great hair like Oscar Isaac, though, so I think that's part of it.
Great hair? Great or gray?
Great.
Yeah. But now Oscar Isaac has great gray hair, not nice.
And that can always be colored. That can always be colored. Yeah, that's always.
I know,
but I will push back a little bit, Colin, because remember they said the exact same thing about Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's too short. That's not Wolverine.
Okay. You think Oscar Isaac is going to be doing the spy stuff? He's a master spy. He is a Green Beret. He's fluent in 6 languages, and he's a freaking dog musher when he's not on duty.
Well, at least Oscar Isaac can speak 2 languages.
That's right. Okay, he's not. It's just not it for me. I'm done. I'm kind of done with video game movies. I think they all suck. They're all stupid. The reason a video game is good is because I can sit there and push through it at my own pace, and somebody else trying to take that and crunch it down into a movie has not worked ever. And trying to create original stories within a world, that's not what people want to see. It sucks. And eventually it splits a fandom again, where like I'm sitting here playing World of Warcraft like it's 2004 right now, but the Warcraft movie was terrible. Like, it didn't make any money. There's there's X amount of that movie came out at the height. Money. That movie came out at the height of World of Warcraft. Where World of Warcraft had maybe 15 million monthly subscribers playing the game, and you couldn't turn that into a box office hit, and it was explaining the lore of the game. They have to start somewhere and build a world, and I just feel like by choosing Oscar Isaac, they're going to put you in a world that already exists, and that's not really the story I'd want to watch. I would like to see Snake being a Green Beret and then going full, having to take down
his origin story. Would that have been better for you?
I'm kind of more interested in Tom Holland's Uncharted because it's going to take the lore and make a story off of the lore, kind of loosely based off of the one like side game they made, right? The Lost whatever Nathan Drake game they made.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the one that was like $20 that wasn't a full game. That's kind of more what I want. And Metal Gear is just so big. People are going to be like, am I watching Ghost in the Shell? Am I watching Akira? The world of it is so weird to explain and to just put you in the middle of it without seeing the rise of the Metal Gears and what he has to actually do. It's going to be hard. And I think to make a video game movie successful, it shouldn't be hard. like to make. Like I feel like they're putting themselves in a hole that they're gonna have to dig themselves out of.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's hard to believe that we and goes back to what you said, Boggs and Colin, that we haven't gotten a good video game movie yet, and it's hard to believe that that's the case because video game movies are ripe to be made out of a movie. Like the story is right there, you see it. It should not be this hard, and the fact that we're over I don't know how many. Everybody thought like, oh, maybe it was Prince of Persia, or maybe it's World of Warcraft. Well, okay, that's nothing wrong with that. That's
What?
fine. Or what was the last one that came out?
No. Explain
Assassin's
yourself.
Creed was really not good.
Assassin's Creed could have been the Matrix.
Could have been.
That's what
It was
Assassin's
crap.
Creed should have been. Assassin's Creed
it was
is
no
the
good. It was not
Matrix.
Could have been, but it wasn't.
Yeah, that's the world that they had there. The Animus is one of the. It's endless. It's literally endless. And then they make you had a character who's the main dude. From the first 3 games. From Assassin's Creed.
I don't know.
It's one character. It's one guy who's in the real world, and then he goes in and plays all the different characters. That's it. You just got to run in that, and they didn't. Like they ruined that with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, they ruined again. They ruined a lot of it, and the fact that again the material is right in front of you. It's like translating a book. The material is right there. You don't have to make
If
it
I
up.
can play devil's advocate for a second, though.
Yeah.
So this is not a movie; it's a show. But The Witcher is a video game, although the show is adapting the books that is set before the video game. So if there was something like that where you could have something that has been a video game, but has also been books or has been something else, what were your thoughts if something like that, a video game movie, would come out like that?
Well, that goes back to my point because I'm sitting here saying that these stories take 16 hours to play. Some of them 16 hours, and they want to tell the story in 2. You can't do that. So yeah, goes totally over to the TV side, expand on it, and actually build the relationships that these characters do. Because a lot of the time you get into a video game movie and they're like, okay, let's look at the video game list. Let's look at the character list. All right, these are the characters in the movie. That's not how it works. Video games, you usually have to earn the respect of of companions who eventually come along with you, and you got to earn that. And movies are just like, nope, here they are.
Well, I mean,
Don't ever
they did kind of do that with Sonic, even though I didn't like that movie. It did okay, and we're getting another one. Ugh.
There was
and
parts
it's
of it that I liked and parts of it I
Wait,
didn't.
is Pales in
I
it?
can
Is that
have
what you're trying to tell me?
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah, sure.
He's at the very, very end.
Yeah, cool.
He's
Knuckles?
He's like, where's Sonic at? We gotta get him. And then
Shadow?
That's kind of. No Shadow.
Knuckles?
But he's teased.
Teased. Yeah,
Cool.
he's teased.
Yeah. But so you haven't played the Metal Gear Solid franchise, but hearing that they're A gonna make a movie out of it, and B it's gonna be Oscar Isaac, what are your just thoughts initially, regardless that you haven't played the game? What do you think?
Since I don't have an attachment to the game, when I just hear Oscar Isaac's kind of in the same way with Bogz, it's like, oh, I'm gonna watch it because I love Oscar Isaac and he's a great actor, a fellow Cuban, so always down for Latino representation. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's short, but it's one of those like he's a phenomenal actor. I'm gonna watch his things.
Yeah, I mean, I just
like this. He's on fire, man.
Yeah.
Man's a busy man. Busy man.
Well, he wasn't on the Dunes that long.
Well, you know.
Spoilers.
Well, you know.
Shh, Colin. Shh.
Can't be the star of you can't be the
I'm
star
sorry,
of
did I
everything.
just spoil a book that is
Well, not
how many
everybody
years
read the
old?
book.
50
Not
years
everybody
old?
read the book, Colin. Just the same way not everybody's
Colin,
played
I
this
think-
video game. You know.
I don't know if Bogz or Sean have, but I know you and I have read the book. Goes just because we have doesn't mean everyone has.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean like him just saying that doesn't mean anything to me. I have no idea what he's referring to, so I'm still gonna watch the movie because that went right like this, right over my head. So I'm not gonna remember it, but I'm still gonna watch the movie. But the idea that this isn't not, I'll ask this question: if you could make a video game movie, what's the video game franchise you would want them to adapt? I'll start with you, Colin. What if you could make
go to
one
somebody
movie?
else? I got too many games going through my head. Go to Boqz.
Okay.
He doesn't play a lot of video games.
Can't be FIFA.
I don't want to see a FIFA game. To be fair. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. Thinking. So I think something that I used to play.
All right, I'll give you a minute. So you got an answer because I already have mine.
Okay, it's gonna be a joke answer just because I'm gonna be talking about this later on another YouTube channel, but I'm just gonna go Wave Runner. For the N64 Wave Runner joke answer. Just because it's been on my mind.
So you just want to see like some surfer guys like on some like jet skis like racing around and make a story out of that.
It's not a real
Baywatch
answer.
meets heavy metal.
Fast and the Furious. Baywatch meets Fast and the Furious.
It's
they
not
got
a
like
real
Nas on there.
answer. But if they were to make like a Fast and the Furious, but just on jet skis, sure, why not?
Fast and the Furious presents Wave
It's all
Runner.
about family.
Yes.
Family.
It's all about family. For me, I kind of said it earlier, but I'll say it again. I would love to see a Legend of Zelda, A movie or B TV show, or both. I think you could do both. Colin doesn't seem like he agrees with me, but I don't care. I love the world has been flushed out enough where you can do a movie, origin movie for Link, and then you could do a series about the world of Hyrule, and you could take it anywhere you want. Like that's just like I know why it has happened because Nintendo got scared from the Mario Bros. Movie and they're like never again. So I think they have to be they have some PST about that, and I think they have to get over that. They still haven't gotten over it. So eventually, maybe it'll happen. But I would love.
Did you guys see the Mario Land stuff? When we're on Nintendo
Yes, I did.
for a second. Okay,
Yes, I did.
so we're all going to Japan.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go to Japan anyway, but yeah, that's just
I wanted
another
to go
reason
anyways,
to go.
but another reason, yeah.
Well, because
Just
they're
chalk
building,
it up on the lease.
They're building a replica. The same one is going up in Universal's new park in Orlando, the Lost
4
Worlds,
hours away.
and it's gonna have basically all the same rides and a Donkey Kong land as well.
Yeah,
which is.
But I would rather go to the one in Japan. I'm sure it's gonna be cooler for some reason. I just feel
you don't want to come to Florida.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't go to both, but I'm just saying if I had the choice, I would go to one in Japan first, then I would go to one in Florida. That's just what I'm saying.
Well, the
I'll
one
go
in
to
Florida
both.
they had to stop building.
Well,
Because,
you know,
but
Yeah.
they kept going to Japan. Japan was like full steam. We got to keep on building.
all right, well, I don't blame them if you can get things done during the pandemic, why not? You know, but yeah, Legend of Zelda, that's my pick. Wave Riders. Family is Souls. Colin, do you got your pick now?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's like just redoing something that they've already done. I think, unfortunately, like Warcraft in particular is ripe for a movie series, but they told the wrong story. Warcraft, the universe is 30 years old now. It started with Warcraft, Orcs and Humans on the PC, and that's been the main game, like the lore of the whole world that spawned World of Warcraft. And there's a story of Arthas, the fallen prince, who goes to whatever links necessary to save his land and falls to become the Lich King. And it goes from being a holy knight to being a damned one and leading the demon race of the whole dang world. And it's just an amazing rise and fall story, but they kind of had to build the world with the shitty first one. And I wish Duncan Jones would pick up the mantle again and just make a second one on its own, because it's a story that takes place like 50 years after the movie that we got in 2015. I think
that movie looked amazing. That movie looked amazing.
I have it on 4K. The 4K Blu-ray is phenomenal. I mean, they really the orcs look fantastic. The armor that they're all wearing is all practical, and it's huge, which is exactly what it's like in the games. It's all overdone. It's that kind of spectacle of that kind of fantasized medieval world. And man, I mean, like you said, the world is ripe for it, and I'm with you on Zelda. If they did, it totally smells of like Netflix kids' version of The Witcher.
I mean, you could take it that way. You could take it a dark way. You like
no. I didn't mean like that. I just meant like it could be their version of it, like for Netflix.
I see what
kids,
you're
you could
saying.
have you like well, maybe not watch The Witcher because obviously there is some correlation between the two games in terms of what you're doing and why just traveling a beautiful world, essentially. Even the Elder Scrolls too. That Skyrim world. There's got to be something in there too where they could make us a nice little story or two. That world's ripe.
I mean, I just want to see like a live action Link open up a chest and you hear do 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 do. I just want to see that. I'll also throw some love to Castlevania. I think that would also make a great movie.
Great
Bogz,
show.
what do you think?
Show's fantastic. Watch the show.
Yeah. Well, I am, but I love to see a movie too. Bogz, what do you think?
So when I watched Mad Max Fury Road, it reminded me of a game that I used to play, and I would like it to take that kind of style of movie. Twisted Metal.
Yes.
Yeah, Twisted Metal. I would love that.
Get the Rampage producer, Twisted Metal, go.
Something like that. Yeah. I was in love with that game. I played every edition.
That's a great pick.
So much storyline in that with action, with locations and everything. So yeah, that would be I've always wanted that in my my whole life really. So
can they make that pod racing game a movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the PS4. That Star Wars
64 pod racing game.
Yes.
That was a good
do
game.
it.
That was a good
do
game.
it.
I was like, I don't like episode 1, but I'm digging this pod racing game. I'll tell you that right now.
I
loving
played that
thing.
game.
I used to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and they had the thing at Chuck E. Cheese at the arcade where you could control it, move them back and forth, and I could never figure. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Is this how people drive? Like, this is impossible.
I would just be moving them back and forth, just.
Oh my god, Anakin really is the chosen one.
Jesus.
Now this is pod racing. It's like I never played it in the arcade, but I did love I used to have the N64 version, so I used to play the hell out of that one. All right, cool. So Twisted Metal. I never would thought about that.
Great call,
man, Bogz.
I was looking for the name.
You could do that a post-apocalyptic world where they.
It's kind of already Death Race though.
But still
isn't Twisted Metal, but it's that kind of tone.
I want to see a machine gun on an ice cream truck. I want to see that and start, crashing into things. Bogz, quick.
Crash Bandicoot. I think that'd be a good kids weigh in. I think.
Have they not already done that? Something?
No.
It wouldn't surprise me now that Sonic has kind of been a little bit popular. Would it surprise me if that got announced?
They did it for Ratchet and Clank. You're thinking of Ratchet and Clank, Bogz.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah,
Ratchet and Clank, which was I really enjoyed the movie because it did it was shot for shot. It was essentially shot for shot the first game. They just did the story of the first game, which is very adaptable. And that's the problem is a lot of these, there aren't stories. It's hard to find the video game stories that you can turn into 2 hours because some of them, you just can't do it. You can't take Zelda and put it into 2 hours. You got to do it over.
That's a TV show.
Right. As a TV show or and that's what you don't want. You don't want to be like, oh my God, a series of Zelda movies, or I hope they planned it out. Like the stress of like 6 Zelda movies. You'd be like, oh my God, this is so stressful.
Like we're gonna have 5 Fantastic Beast movies. Like, what are you doing?
No, we're not.
What are you doing? Yeah, we're not going to.
Might.
But when they announced that,
Release getting 3. Release getting 3, and that's too many. The first one should have been it, and that was it. But that's the story for
the first one, and after that, no.
Yeah, it should have been one and done. But Warner Brothers loves that Harry Potter money, so I don't blame them for trying. But eek.
There's other stories in Harry Potter.
Oh well, yeah, or find another franchise to milk already. Like
I think those movies are going to get a lot more love once another part of that theme park in Universal that they're building is they're going to put 1920s America Wizarding World. So there's gonna be some resurgence of the franchise, at least in the next few years as well. So I don't think this. Or
you know what they could do? Just make better movies. You make good movies, people will care
Or
again.
just make a show.
You can make a Marauders show of
The
basically
Marauder show would be.
There should be a Harry Potter TV show. There's no debating that. They should have a show.
The thing going around the internet
how,
about Adam Driver playing Snape, and it's Snape's like years as a Death Eater, and then turning
Sign
to
me
the,
up.
like his turn. Like
Sign me
I
up.
would put that
Yes.
Sign me
right
up.
here.
Yes.
Sign me up. Sign me up. Let's go.
HBO Max, let's go.
That's
We're
that's
giving
what
you
they used to
free
call a
ideas,
go
HBO
picture.
Max.
Go picture right there. Yeah, the kid stays in the picture, and that's a go picture.
And then you can bring in a young, and that's a backdoor into the Marauders, where even you could.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't they do that? That's a great idea.
But instead,
Warner
let's write a
Brothers,
story
free
about
idea.
a book that's as thick as my pinky.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it should have been a one and done. Anyway, shouldn't have been a franchise. But anyway, all right. So we're gonna move on to WRRP, watching, reading, recommending, and playing. So the last time Bogz and Colin were on the show, they had a little bit of homework. So I know Bogz, our homework was to watch the first 3 episodes of The Boys, and since some time has passed, we have both finished the first 2 seasons of The Boys. So I gave my review last week on what I thought The Boys was, even though at that point I still had 3 episodes to watch. I have completed those 3 episodes. I've fully caught up, and I know Bogz, you are completely caught up as well. So your thoughts on The Boys? What did you think of the entire series so far?
Yeah, so quite similar to how you reviewed it, to be honest. It's good. Particularly, I found the first season a lot better than the second season. Second season is also good, but I did thoroughly enjoy the first season more. I will say a few things though. Oh, by far the best characters in it are Homelander, and I forgot her name, but Elizabeth Shue's character. I thought she is fantastic, super entertaining. Like the way kind of how manipulative they are, and how they kind of work in that universe. Obviously, spoilers for anyone. It is like an alternate universe of the Justice League, in effect, and I just love the whole Superman aspect to it. How I love that as well. The writers and everything were so smart dealing with terrorists in inverted commas, with and the terrorists being these super terrorists, being obviously as well, they were Asian or Middle Eastern. We have to go defend our country and stop the super international terrorists. Well, really, you guys are the ones kind of terrorizing.
Welcome to America, baby. That's the point.
This is America. This is America.
Exactly. So shout out to that. A couple of so overall, it definitely worth a watch. Recommended. The negatives I will say is that I did prefer the stories of the backstories of the actual the suits, the heroes. Like A-Trains or obviously Homelanders and his whole issues and things like that. I wasn't massively interested in the boys' backstories. So Huey's, especially the second season, he had too much screen time for me. Butcher's, I was interested in the first season. The second season, his backstory is dull with his wife and everything. I was so more interested in what was happening in the tower with Homelander's story, and with Giancarlo Esposito, his side of things. That was way more interesting in the second season than is it Mother's Milk and Frenchie and them guys, and is it Kimiko? I forgot her name exactly.
Yeah,
Kimiko, Frenchie, and MM.
They in their stories in the first season were great. In the second season, I just find it dull. That their backstories, I wanted to see more of the soups and stuff, and it did annoy me that Black Noir didn't have like a line throughout the whole thing, and he was like,
or do much until like the last of the second season. He didn't do much.
Yeah, or Kaneko also. Yeah, I did establish that, but I obviously, me coming in blind, I didn't know the comics or anything or the stories before. I did find that a little bit weird, and also the is it Kamiko as well? She also didn't have a line throughout the whole thing. I was like, oh come on, these guys are prominent characters. The minorities heroes, and they're the ones that don't have lines. I was like, oh come on. So that did annoy me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, overall first season definitely a must watch. Second season is good too. Overall I did think it's a little bit overrated, but it is worth a watch. Absolutely, I did enjoy it overall, but I don't love it as much as other people do.
Go watch your Hitchcock.
Hey, well, I agree with Bogz. It is a little overrated. I like the show. Now, I will disagree with Bogz in the sense I like the second season more. Now, seeing all of the second season, I like how the second season ended and started setting up for season 3. I like that. I agree with you, Bogz. I want to learn more about Homelander, and I like that we saw a lot more of Queen May. She's great. I want more of her. I want a Queen May centric episode where we just learn more about her backstory and see what she's up to. Like, I love her character.
Get it.
Just
Okay,
wait.
Just you wait.
well then,
When is season 3 up? Have they announced it? Or?
Yeah,
well, they're probably referencing the books, Colin. So
They're
they're probably
referencing
like
the endless amount of
that-
comics about from it.
that's why they're saying that. But
they've greenlit 3. They're filming it right now, and 4 is on the way too.
yeah, so I love her character. So she is the most interesting of her and Homelander. I want to see more of him, like especially now that spoiler alert, like him and his kid. What's the dynamic going to be there? Now that he know that now his kid is kind of like turned on him. How's he going to react to that? The team that they're building now, who's going to be on that team? Is that going to be like their version of the Avengers? Is it can be like the Justice League versus the Avengers? Are we kind of gonna get something like that? So things like that they're setting up, the possibilities. That's why I think season 2 at least ends better than season 1 did. So I'm looking forward to season 3. But I agree with you, Bogz. The show is not like, even though I'm a superhero like stan. I love anything superhero. Like you pretty much already got me. But for this show, it's a little overhyped. But with that being said, when season 3 comes on, I'm 100% on board. So yeah. So whippy for me. But yeah, I agree. We both liked it, but it's not both of our cup of teas. We'll put it that way, right?
I think
What's
one thing you're
funny
going to
is-
notice
oh, go
is
ahead, yeah.
you're going to notice that this story, along with Preacher, both Garth Ennis stories, Garth has taken initiative on these shows to make sure that the backstory that he didn't get to explain in the comics as setup is set up here. Because now the boys are where they are at in the comics. The boys in the comics are a CIA government-funded group who go after the soups. And that is now where we're at in the story. So we've kind of gotten to...
We got the prequel.
Yeah. The first 2 seasons were kind of a prequel to the boys while introducing you to the world of the 7 at the same time. And now that the soups, because we haven't seen them go up against multiple soups at one time. They've always been smart about it, that they try to get them one at a time. Just wait until it's like full on warfare. This thing is going to explode. And I'm off. This is my Tarantino of superheroes. This is what this is to me. This is Tarantino does over the top, he's the king of over the top, and he'll smack you over the head with it and will not apologize. And this show does not apologize one bit for how over the top it is, and that's why I love it.
That's part of why I do like it. Like I like that it just goes. It knows exactly what it is and just goes over the top. Like with Stormbreaker. Stormfront. Surprised she lived. To be honest, I thought she was gonna get killed for
Spoiler.
sure. Yeah, a little surprised by that. Maybe she gets killed at some point later on, but surprised she made it out of there.
Well, you got to
Barely,
rip
but she
that
did.
girl like in half, like a vampire in Twilight. You got to burn her. You got to see it. You got to see that last cell go away, or else she can come back.
What's
And
funny
just
though is
Okay.
Bog's take, where what I've seen of people who've been critical of the boys, they all say the second season's better than the first. You were the first person I heard, like the opposite of everyone else who likes the first season better than the
I'll be
second.
honest,
I don't know.
I'll tell you
if
why.
Kyle-
I'll tell you why, because it is Elizabeth Shue. I thought she was the best thing in the show, and her death scene. Well, spoiler, sorry. How
Yeah. Well,
that
that's
last
fine.
episode of the first season, I thought I was gripped, man. Like the way it was going, the kid was there, and she's telling, "Please take the kid." So something was going to go off. You didn't know what. Obviously, Butcher, it was going to put life on the line. Homelander, you haven't got a clue what he's going to do. That was epic. That was the best episode. I think that one and kind of Storm. Is it Stormfront? Did you say?
Yeah, Stormfront.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
her
Stormfront.
kind of when you first seen her powers and killing all the where she killed Kamika's brother. They were the 2 best episodes for me. But yeah,
I do agree with you, Bogz. The show does miss her, Elizabeth Shue. She had a presence in that first season.
Now AOC
Like obviously,
coming in.
it has to go by the comic book, but I think the show, the way Elizabeth Shue
She
portrays
was the
that
only one that
character,
control him. Control
Yeah.
Homeland.
but I do like Homelander off his leash. I do like that too. But just the fact that she did her best. And I just was curious about their relationship more. Like I want to learn a little bit more, and maybe we still will a little bit.
It's so creepy
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
really, really creepy with the milk and everything.
Weirdos,
Like,
you guys wanted more of that?
well, I'm just. Why was it weird? Like, what is Homelander's deal? So, like, maybe we can still get that kind of stuff in flashbacks of like.
With the
We
milk
did.
and
We learned
everything.
more about it. We learned more
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it because
I wanna
him
learn
talking to the dude
More, yeah,
who him talking to the guy, learning that like he had his dad's not really his dad. The dude he sees as his familiar figure just sees him as a lab experiment, and that's all he
I
is.
get it, but
and
don't tell me, show me is what I want to. Is my always the thing. Show me. So I want to see more back. I want to see more flashbacks.
Is when they actually show who Black Noir is. I can't wait
bro,
for Bogz and Sean's.
it's some nuts.
As long as we don't get more of the deep. The deep is stupid. Like I know who he's supposed to be. Aquaman. I don't like him. Like Aquaman, go talk to the fish
going all
somewhere else.
Scientology. The Scientology stuff is lit. I'm all about that.
And his Gil singing with him.
Yes, that was amazing.
Well, that was funny. That was funny. And Peyton Oswalt as the voice of the Gills
for
was
the other guy because he wasn't fast enough anymore. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what would happen. That's so good.
yeah. Just give me more Homelander and Queen Maid backstories. Like everybody else from the Seven, until Black Noir is like, give me more of him because we haven't seen enough of him. But like the Deep and A-Train, I don't care. I don't care. Homelander, yay. Queen May, yay. Black Noir, please do something and then say something, yay.
Just wait.
Starlight.
Starlight, nah. First season they were okay. Her and Huey, they got too much screen time for me in season 2. I was so
It's
bored.
Huey's story, bro. He's the main character.
It was boring,
the main character of the show.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He had too much storyline. He's the main character.
There's 15 other characters in the story.
But he's the main character.
I know, Colin, you're repeating the same thing, but the 15 other characters have more interesting backstories.
I agree with Bogz. Like, yes, he's the main character, but I want to learn more about everybody else. Everybody else has more interesting backstories. Huey's backstory, you can give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I mean, they do earn it. They're superheroes. Like you don't want to know where Homelander's fetish for that milk comes from. I know I do.
No. Not really. I get it. I understood
get
it completely the second they told me that he didn't have a mom and was raised in a lab. Good, I got it. Move on.
I want to see more.
Although I will say, like,
conflicted,
giving the
creepy.
little like bit of Maeve, and then like just, I like the way that it's teasing. It's teasing a little bit of everyone, and
You're
it's
gonna
just
get
telling
it.
you
The
that
things
you're
that you
going to
don't
get
know.
it in the future. I think it's the same where. How taking it back to Mandalorian when Colin was just like, the episode 2 wasn't a filler episode. We're going to see this story continue. I'm going to say that with this. We're going to see this story continue with these other characters.
Nice.
Yay. More flashbacks, please. More flashbacks. I hope it happens.
Why?
All right. Well, because like once you like with these kind of characters, seeing more, you understand more. Now, sometimes that could backfire. You show too much, and then some of the lore can easily get taken away, like with Homelander. So I might ask for it, and I might regret asking for it because I might get it and I may not like it. So that's why, like, sometimes it's good to have some mystery around a character, not knowing why they have certain things happening to him. I agree, but he's so goddamn interesting. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would like the show. He's such a twisted version of a Superman. It's like, imagine if that man really existed. Like the scene where he's pretending to like burn the crowd with his eye beams. Like,
Best scene of the whole season. Best scene of the whole season.
Imagine if he really did that.
Well, the airplane thing.
Well, yeah, the airplane thing, like he's like, they're fucked. Let's go. But no, but the I beam thing is worse. He literally just could have mowed down every. And then what would they have done? Nothing. They can't stop that man. So they haven't established what his real weakness is. Hopefully, at some point they establish that, because how do you really stop them, man? They just have to
choose breast milk. So
I mean, I guess because every time there's just kind of like the only thing I don't like about the show really is kind of they have the Vampire Diary-ish kind of trope where the villain could easily win and he gets talked down somehow of like, well, you gotta let me go, or I'll do blah 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 blah, and that happened in Vampire Diaries all the time, like every week, and it just got annoying. So that's the only thing about the show is like they get pushed in a corner and then they kind of figure out like, oh, you can't kill him yet because this. And I'm like, really? Homelander, just killed him anyway. No one could stop you. So it's like that's the only thing.
Avengers
Like
does the same thing. I mean, they eventually just like Loki. You know, I mean, Loki's still there. They didn't do anything with the villain. He was.
well, I know, but the way they kind of like if you kill him, this information will get out. Like the way they try to like just talk the villain down instead of beating the villain, they talk him out.
Though. But that hurts him more than dying. That's why I love the show because it's set right now. And it would totally so I'm so in it to where the stakes are your popularity, and that's so right now. It's the perfect level of stakes for a show where fuck dying. Who cares about dying? That's kind of his mentality. It's like I would rather die than have you expose like it take away all my fans. The fans mean more to him than living. He would do anything. Like that's why he didn't mow them all down. He's not dumb. Homelander's not dumb. Like I think that's what they're like. Oh, he could just go off the rails at any time. I don't think so. I think he's more methodical than we give him credit for because he's lasted this long without murking the entire world. So,
yeah, but the idea, I love how they played it. Like, his character is so maniacal. It wouldn't surprise me if he really did do that. Like that's the kind of scene at that point where they're booing him and he's losing the crowd.
Oh yeah,
he could easily be like, you know what, fuck this, and just kill them all.
The audience knows that he's maniacal. The normal people, everyday people in the show, think that he's an amazing person. That's the thing about this show, and that is why it's so present to what's going on. And I can't speak for UK, but what's going on in the US right now?
It's the timeliest show of all time. It and Watchmen are so it couldn't be released at any other time and meant as much as they do right now. It's just incredible how on the pulse both of those shows are. It's perfect.
Well, I mean, if he could have killed those fans the same way like he killed that guy in the alley with Stormfront, he'd be like, yeah, sign me up. Like, can I just mow them down and nobody will know about it? Yep, I'll do that. Because he crushed that guy's skull in the alley. It was like, oh my God. And then they had sex right after.
Yep.
Oh, the show's weird. But interesting. But so I will be tuning into season 3.
And Aya Cash she was phenomenal.
Yeah, she was.
And then I saw her in an episode of The Newsroom and I was like, I know that bitch's voice. Who is that? And I saw her in The Newsroom. I was like, oh my God, it's that Nazi bitch.
Well, her just going like, I love Stormfront when she gets outed and she's just like, I'm just gonna fry all you guys. Like that last battle scene was great. But anyways, so Colin, Soul watched The Quiet Place. Did you have a chance to watch The Quiet Place?
Oh, I haven't had a chance. I was waiting for it to come on streaming. I was hoping it was going to switch over this month, but it's not streaming everywhere, so gotta go grab it from the library.
Shame.
Yeah, whatever.
Join Soul and Bogz. Shame.
You can watch it next week.
I said join it and shame him. Shame.
Like you said, this is our show, not your show.
Because this is a safe space. A safe space.
Why are you shaming me? Don't shame me for not watching.
I'm kid shaming. I'm playfully shaming you. I'm not beating you and shaming you. I'm just kid shaming.
At least he's not Game of Thrones making you be Cersei
exactly.
go through the
exactly. I'm not.
That's what he's talking about, and that's what he's trying to replicate.
Well,
I am not.
I'm making a joke about it. I'm not trying to literally hit you or have you strip and do a shame walk. I'm just saying the word shame. That's all. That's as far as this was ever gonna go.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. So you're gonna watch A Quiet Place, and then you'll let us know what you think. Anything anybody else wants to talk about? Anything that they're watching, reading, or playing, or would like to recommend to someone else?
So I have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
since we were talking about The Boys, I wanted to bring up this book series. It's a duology by V.E. Schwab, but the first book is called Vicious. And it is basically where you have these people that end up, and the reason it's called Villains Duology is you have these people that end up getting powers that are not the best people in the world. So it's very topical to the boys. And just to like give like a short summary that's not too spoilery, you have these two best friends and roommates in their senior year of college as pre-med students working on their thesis paper. And Victor's thesis is on adrenaline and how people can temporarily do amazing inhuman acts, like a mother lifting a car so it doesn't crush her baby. But Eli's thesis is on EOs, otherwise known as extraordinaries, and these are people who permanently have powers. And they figure out how people become EOs, because normal everyday people can become EOs, and there's an inciting incident, kind of in the same way of like, oh, other than like a spider biting you and you getting a radioactive spider, but there is an inciting incident. And it's just interesting about how these people who end up through that inciting instrument get like powers, and they didn't even want powers. They're just normal everyday people. So you have normal everyday people now having basically superpowers, and how normal everyday people go about having it, other than because I feel in the same way with the boys, with if you have Superman that basically everything but a tiny little rock can, and you have all this power, you're not going to be the best person ever. You're probably going to get super corrupt. That is reality. So in this way, it shows how normal everyday people get corrupt with power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So
Absolutely.
an interesting book. It is only 2 books. They're pretty short. They're not super long. V.E. Schwab is an amazing author. She's actually half English, half American. So she makes up she lives in Edinburgh now. So yeah, go check her out.
Cool. Bogz, you're gonna say something?
Yeah. So I've noticed you got lower in your position, Sean. I don't know if you've noticed. You
Okay,
just
I
slowly
can.
scanned the screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm falling asleep. Yeah, so I think I've noticed on Friday that it was it's released in the UK. I know you guys had it for a while, but Raised by Wolves, I'll be watching as soon as possible.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
so
talk
I
about
know-
it, baby. Let's go. The show's
I've
the
not seen it
shit.
yet. I've not seen it yet. So,
Oh,
because I understand, I haven't seen spoilers for it, but I believe it is connected to the Aliens universe. I know you haven't seen Aliens, but Aliens is one of my favorite franchises of all time, so I really hope it does. So yeah, I heard it's really good. Really, Scott, his sci-fi stuff is, I'm on point with that, so my kind of thing. So we'll definitely be watching that over the next week. So I'll try and I don't know how many episodes are there, Colin. Do you know?
8.
Okay, so hour-long ones.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'll try and get it done.
Imagine
before-
this was running on HBO. This is a full. It's a full HBO show. They got to run the whole 55 sometimes.
Cool. So I'll try and get that done before next week's episode. So that's what I'll be watching.
All right. Well, I as a man of my word, I said I'd be watching The Boys. Got that done. Check that off the list. So now The Witcher is next. So that's where I'm gonna be watching. It's just one season, right?
Yep.
Yes.
It's just one season. 8
I
episodes.
think it's 8
assume?
episodes as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's definitely what my homework is. I would definitely be watching The Witcher, and then checking that off the box. And then I don't know where I'll be going from there, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that show. I've heard it's really, really good. It's already got picked up for another season, so I'd like to get caught up before that comes out. So definitely try to get. I will commit to at least getting half the season done by next week, and then hopefully getting the whole thing done. But by sure, I will get the season done by the end of the month for sure. But I guarantee I will have at least half the show done by.
Yeah, folks, I'm
Week
never
7.
going to guarantee anything. All right. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to guarantee anything to y'all. I just can't. I get too wrapped up in anime.
I guarantee.
That's fine.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what you
I
watch.
love giving myself goals. Well, yeah, but what are you watching, Colin? What are you watching?
7 Deadly Sins on Netflix. Holy shit balls. This show is wacky-tastic. It takes place in Britannia,
in a fictionalized version of old lore. Got everything from holy knights to who control different magical properties to King Arthur to Merlin. Everything is rooted in lore and legends. The show revolves around these 7 I won't call them assassins, they're not really assassins, but powerful beings, all somehow stronger than the average magical being in the world. They're probably 7 of the strongest humans or whatever that they have. And they're called the 7 Deadly Sins. And the show starts out with them being enemies of the state. They've been framed for the murder of a high-ranking officer in the Holy Knights. And the first season is them getting back into the good graces of the kingdom and how they go about that. And it's awesome. I mean, I watched 3 seasons of that show. And granted, the second season was only 4 episodes. It wasn't really called a season. It was like a halfway. And I tore through 48 episodes of that. And like since Thanksgiving, I've just downed it. And now I'm saving the last season. I don't want to watch it because I know they had to delay the release of the latest season that's coming out just because of everything going on. So I didn't want to tear it all down. I wanted to save a little bit, but if you can get over the main character who's a little horny sometimes and squishes a boob from time to time, the action is fantastic. I enjoyed it.
Wow, an anime character that's horny.
But this guy squishes too many boobs. It's my only downside of the show is I go, okay, here we go.
As long as it doesn't get to High School of the Dead level.
No, it's not quite that far. It does go a little too far. It does go a little too far a couple times where I'm not uncomfortable, but that part of it's not for me. But I know that's unless you're watching Yu-Gi-Oh or Naruto. Like Naruto does it very subtly with Kakashi, but this show it whacks you over the top. But that and Gaine and I have been watching The Queen's Gambit. We have 2 episodes left of that show on Netflix, and that is just phenomenal. Truly phenomenal television. There's a reason it's at the top of Netflix.
People are watching it, yeah.
Yeah, the reason it's at the top. And I saw something our friend Mike Shea, our producer over on the Ultimate Schmodown show, shared a link on Facebook that was, they called it the Netflix effect. And it was Google searches for chess had gone up like 5,000%. The book, The Queen's Gambit, is 37 years old, and now it's a New York Times bestseller. Chess.com, the all of it, it's all just blown up. So that's one of the things where I downloaded a chess game on my phone and I'm sitting here playing the computer, playing chess. Like, it's so weird that's
then the show did its job.
Right, yeah.
And also Netflix, The Crown season 4, phenomenal. So go check that out. You get to see Princess Diana finally coming into The Crown. So
interesting. Are you watching that, Bogz?
No, but I know like literally everyone does. I'm the odd one out, but not seen the first season or whatever, so I've not got around to it.
Hey, you went to history class, dude. You're good.
True.
Yeah, you kind of lived it.
So people love it. I know people love it. Yeah, but no.
All right, so that's pretty much what we're watching or reading or recommending or playing. Cool. So let's just go to the last segment, and thank you guys for sticking around. If you have been watching this whole time, thank you so much. So kind of what's coming up on the channel. So obviously we're going to be doing PopTalk either every Sunday, or next week we might do it on Saturday. That's to be determined, but definitely we're going to try to do these things at least once a week, where we just talk about the news of the week and what our thoughts are and what we're watching or what we're playing. So definitely look out for that. And as you guys have already been watching on the channel, and thank you so much for doing so, we have The High Ground with Colin and Bogz reviewing now The Mandalorian every week. You guys have been giving that show great support, so thank you so much. Also, the fact that show is going to continue even after The Mandalorian, so you can look for that show to continue after The Mandalorian, because Star Wars never dies, so their show will always continue. So
Goonies never die.
We have books coming in January.
We have books coming. Eventually, there'll be a video game at some point, and there'll be other shows. So Star Wars does not end with The Mandalorian, so their show will not end with The Mandalorian either.
And we talked about
So-
that in our first episode. Bogz and I have waited a long time to do a Star Wars show, and we said that we could do a Star Wars show every day. So the fact that you're only getting us once a week means that we're always going to have stuff to talk about. We're going to go into the books that we've already read. We're going to have we're going to challenge each other to read some comics, to read some books that we haven't read, and have those discussions like we do here. And we're ready. So if you
we're going to do also rankings, recommendations. How many people must now on YouTube be looking for Rebels episodes, best Clone Wars episodes? Because after everything that's happened in The Mandalorian, they need help, and that's what we're here for. So we're going to recommend stuff for you guys to watch as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good actually way to segue out of
like best
talking about The
Ahsoka
Mandalorian.
episodes, whatever. That
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you're right. And again, if Disney were to release their records, it wouldn't surprise me if after the last couple of episodes, people have been watching Rebels and Clone Wars a lot more now. Wouldn't surprise me. I think Disney already released like the episodes you should be watching to learn more about Ahsoka. So it wouldn't surprise me if people are still watching The Empire Strikes Back a little bit more because of Boba Fett. So, people who are like, oh yeah, that guy. I want to learn more about him. I'll watch more of him again. So yeah, you guys can look for that on the channel. Also, as we get closer and closer to Wonder Woman coming out, we will definitely do a spoiler movie review on Wonder Woman 1984. You can look forward to that. Also, as we come across into 2021, we will be reviewing Cobra Kai. So Soul's homework at some point is to watch the first season, 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. We will be breaking down season 1 and then season 2 of Cobra Kai, and then our thoughts of, I assume they're going to do another trailer before season 3. So when the next trailer comes out, we'll also review the trailer and kind of give our thoughts of what we might expect for season 3. And we already know they've announced a season 4, so we can look forward to that as well. So never thought this show would be this good. But I can't believe we're already going to get 4 seasons of Cobra Kai. I didn't think we would only get past season 1. But that's a story for another day. So obviously, looking forward to that. Obviously, we're always going to be talking about WandaVision. So look forward to WandaVision. So January is going to be a great, great month. We're going to obviously wind down with Wonder Woman 1984. Should we do a review for Soul? What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Comes out the same day.
We have to do it with Soul as well, right?
Well, Soul, are you going to watch Soul?
Yeah.
I think you have to.
Music. Just the
she
music
means-
alone.
Guy's a
It-
band
as a-
director. I'm going to cry at the first shot of this film. I'm going to start crying immediately.
Yeah,
Well,
as a
then
band kid, it's going to be like this is the band kid movie.
This is my movie. You guys are like, hey, did you like Whiplash? Guess what? We're going to Pixar Whiplash. Boom.
Well, so I guess I know what we're all doing Christmas morning. We're gonna be watching Souls and then Wonder Woman, and then we'll do a review on each of those. So you guys can look forward to that. So as we wind down, where can everybody find you guys? Anywhere else on the internet besides here? Soul, start with you.
All right, you can find me at SoulGovin on Twitter, at soul.k.govin on Instagram. You can also find me over at the Media Sweaties Network YouTube channel. I have a show every Wednesday called Soul Talk, where we just basically talk about just random geeky, nerdy things and what we've recently done. Basically the last segment of this show, but a full show of it. And I just bring in my friends. Hopefully in the future, you guys all can come on to the show because it's a lot of fun. So go check that out.
Sure, why not? I don't mind talking about geeky and nerdy things. We've been talking for 2 hours and 12 minutes about all kinds of stuff. So why not? Why not? Bogz, where can the people find you?
Catch me here on the Pop Culture Universe. Obviously, the shows that you said, we have the High Ground and Pop Talk, plus any other shows coming. Catch me on the Ultimate Shmona Show live. I was going to say every Friday, but the last couple of weeks we're not going Fridays, but just subscribe to that. And yeah, just the main thing, I have noticed that, we've been getting a lot more likes as we've requested. Subscribers have gone up. So thank you all so much for that. So let's keep that up. Feel free to drop comments, and let's, and just, thank you for coming on the ride and enjoying it. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Comment. You guys can comment all you like. Good comments, bad comment, disagree, agree. Doesn't really matter. Just say, I like the show, or I didn't like the show, or I agree, or I disagree. Don't care. any comment is a welcome comment. Good, bad, indifferent. As long as it's respectful, that's all that really matters. Colin, where can they find you?
You can find me at _C Morris on all social media platforms. You can find me at the Ultimate Schmodown Show whenever that comes back around, and that'll be making its way to this channel some point in the near future. So look out for that, folks. Some Schmodownness coming over to the PCU. Other than that, we have the high ground, getting real excited about looking towards the end of this season of The Mandalorian. It's kind of stressed. I don't know what I'm going to do this week. I'm really worried about a certain someone, and I just hope the little guy's okay. Somebody feed him. Somebody feed him, please.
Or at least get him a pillow to.
Hey, you want to suck him dry of all his blood? You got to feed him. Come on.
Well, yeah, and we don't want him to have a hurt neck, so just give him a nice little pillow and maybe a blanket. So now he's taking his little nap, he doesn't get cold. We don't want him to get a cold, do we, or the flu? So give him a blanket, a little pillow, maybe and maybe a meal as soon as he wakes up. But I love cookies. Oh yeah, like those blue cookies that he had before.
You can buy for $45 at Williams and Sonoma.
Yeah, pass. I'm not paying $45 for some cookies. Maybe if I was at Disneyland, maybe.
Just to spit up on yourself, like just to throw up.
No, I'm not doing that. But maybe. A Grogu cookie. Well, like imagine his face on the cookie. Like, come on, that's easy money right there. I'll be like, take it. All right, you can have it. All right, so that's kind of our show for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Please comment. Do all those great things. I've been loving the resurgence of the channel after it's been dormant for so long. So I really appreciate the love that we're getting and the support. So please keep it up. And I'm trying to get Soul and Alex to do. We've been talking about doing a certain kind of show. I don't want to say what it is, but I'm trying to get them to do it. I'm really trying,
it's the Thirst Trap show. That's what it is.
Well,
no, thirsty for a character in the show. These ladies are gonna be bringing the heat.
Well, I hope so. I think it'd be hilarious. So hopefully we'll
definitely need you boys to come on too.
Solid snake. Don't get me started. Good night, nurse.
Well, I think Colin has the vapors on somebody, but yeah. Well, anything that they want to do is fine by me. If it's that or anything, so I'm open to it. But that's a conversation for off screen. But yeah, I love the fact that we're doing Pop Talk. I love that you guys are doing. We have the high ground. I got to get on there at some point. Hopefully, maybe after the Mandalorian. Well, obviously, we'll talk about the end of the Mandalorian on here. But yeah, because I actually maybe I'll come on after I start watching the Clone Wars again or Rebels. So that's on my list now of things I got to start watching. Maybe after The Witcher is revisiting Clone Wars and then start watching Rebels because I have not seen one full episode of Rebels. So that's definitely on my list. And
you hang out with us.
Look at Colin's face.
You hang out with us?
Yeah, I do.
Man.
Yep.
Don't know how we let that happen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but don't judge me. It's all good in the hood. I'm sure there's something that I've seen.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. Shame.
Yeah. Bring it on. It's fine. Yeah, but you can shame me. It's okay. But hey, I'm willing to rectify it by going back and watching it. So at some point that will not be an issue because I will have seen it and all of Clone Wars. So. And the Clone Wars movie, because I don't think I've seen that. No, I
you don't need to watch the Clone. You don't need to watch the Clone Wars movie.
I may not need it, but it's always a good thing to say I've seen it. Whether I like it or not is another story. But I can't judge something that I haven't seen. So at least we'll see it to say I've seen it, and then maybe I don't have to watch it ever again. But I do want to see it.
If you're rewatching, watch in chronological order.
Well, yeah, I do have to. I know there's a list of how you're supposed to watch it, so I will find that and watch it the way I'm supposed to, so it makes more sense for me. So I will do that. But in the meantime, you guys can look forward to all those things that are happening on the channel. Please follow everybody where you can follow them, and tune in next week for another great episode of Pop Talk. And until then, guys, bye.